Chapter 858. The legendary 81 apocalyptic paragon tribulations were already unprecedented and rarely seen even in a million years. However, Ling Xiao had passed 108 calamity tribulations, especially the last 9 emperors. Each of them possessed unparalleled strength. Ling Xiao tore the 9 monarchs apart and passed the 108 tribulations of the Supreme Being. It could be said that there was no one like him in the past or in the future. 108 calamity tribulations was not recorded in the history books. Ling Xiao had created history and a new record. Ling Xiao's Dantian Qi Si had already transformed into a vast world. Primal chaos had been split open, and heaven and earth had risen. A mysterious little world had appeared within Ling Xiao's body. As Ling Xiao refined the calamity tribulations, he channeled the power of the Ares art and began to gather the force of the god of war. The force of the god of war shone with a golden light. A trace of the force of the god of war could crush mountains and kill supremes. It contained unparalleled strength. After Ling Xiao broke through to the supremacy realm, he could gather the force of the god of war. With Ling Xiao's strength, after passing 108 calamity tribulations and devouring the force of the calamity tribulations, he could at least break through to the 3rd or 4th level of the supremacy realm. However, he used the Ares art to gather the force of the god of war. The boundless calamity tribulations only gathered a ball of force of the god of war. Therefore, Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the 1st level of the supremacy realm. However, even at the 1st level of the supremacy realm, Ling Xiao's strength was more than 10 times stronger than before. Now, even if a titled supremacy stood in front of Ling Xiao, he would not be afraid. Who would have thought that just by becoming a supremacy, my strength would be comparable to that of my previous life? Devouring Sky Supreme is finally back. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He clenched his fist lightly, and the void exploded with a boom. Ling Xiao's physical body had reached an unimaginable level. Although he was only at the 1st level of the supremacy realm, Ling Xiao was confident that he could fight a titled supremacy with the 4 secret techniques and the 3 godly techniques of the Scarlet Dragon Battle God. This was Ling Xiao's confidence. In this life, he was destined to surpass his previous life and reach the peak. However, it's really difficult to cultivate this Ares art. If I want to break through to the 2nd level of the Venerable Realm, I'm afraid that the resources required to break through from the 1st level of the Venerable Realm to the 9th level of the Venerable Realm wouldn't even be enough. Ling Xiao said helplessly. The force of the Divine God of Battle was extremely powerful. The various great skills of the Divine God of Battle were all performed through the force of the Divine God of Battle. However, even after Ling Xiao had devoured countless tribulations, he only managed to accumulate over 1,000 streams of the force of the Divine God of Battle. In order to achieve the 2nd layer Martial Highness realm, he would need to accumulate 10,000 streams of the force of the Divine God of Battle. Even if Ling Xiao had the heaven-devouring secret skill, according to his normal cultivation speed, he would still need a few decades to break through. Each stream of the force of the Divine God of Battle contained a terrifying power. Supremes cultivated divine power. Some were close to fire spiritual energy, so they cultivated fire divine power. Some were close to water spiritual energy, so they cultivated water divine power. In Ling Xiao's past life, the force of the heaven-devouring secret skill that he had accumulated with the heaven-devouring secret skill was extremely powerful. However, after Ling Xiao obtained the Ares art, he did not hesitate to use it to accumulate the force of the Divine God of Battle. The force of the Divine God of Battle was something that Ling Xiao had never seen before, not to mention that when the Ares art was cultivated to its peak, even Supremes could slay gods. It was definitely a peerless godly technique. That being said, even though the force of the Divine God of Battle was powerful, it consumed a terrifying amount of resources. Even 1,000,000 pure yang pills might not be enough to accumulate a single stream of the force of the Divine God of Battle. Bang! Ling Xiao stood up from the chaos like an ancient ancestor god who had created the world. His body exuded a terrifying aura. Ling Xiao's figure was extraordinarily handsome. His black hair hung loosely, and his skin was as smooth as jade. His body was emitting a mysterious fluctuation of rules. His aura was as vast as the heavens and earth. His eyes, in particular, were bright and intelligent. It was as if he could shatter the heavens and earth with a single glance and recreate the chaos. After obtaining the succession of the Scarlet Dragon Battle God, his trip to the Time Cave had been completed. The Divine General of Time? Ling Zhao's eyes flickered as he saw the Divine General of Time standing in the distance. Given Ling Zhao's current cultivation realm, he could already tell that the Divine General of Time was only at the 9th level of the Supreme Realm. However, because he had cultivated the Age of Time, there was an ethereal and mysterious aura around him. Ling Zhao, you still obtained the Divine God of Battle God's art. That's right, when you obtained the wordless heavenly book, you were destined to be the only one qualified to obtain the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon Battle God. Even if the heavenly selection meeting is held 1,000 times, or even 10,000 times, those who are not qualified will still not be qualified. The Divine General of Time looked at Ling Zhao with a complicated gaze. Who exactly are you? If you are from the War God Temple, why did you help me time and time again? You even killed the Divine General of the War God Temple. If you are not from the War God Temple, why do you carry the name of the War God Temple and preside over the heavenly selection meeting? Ling Zhao asked the Divine General of Time. I am merely the guardian of the Scarlet Dragon Battle God's inheritance. My relationship with the War God Temple is very complicated. You can think of me and the War God Temple as collaborators. I need them to find the inheritor, and they need me to start the heavenly selection meeting. The Divine General of Time said slowly. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. You are the guardian? Who is the Profound Sky God? The Profound Sky God? You really did meet the Profound Sky God. If I'm not wrong, I'm afraid he has already been devoured by your wordless heavenly book. The Divine General of Time's gaze changed slightly as he looked at Ling Zhao. That's right. Ling Zhao nodded. The Profound Sky God claimed to be the disciple of the Scarlet Dragon Battle God, but he tried in vain to possess me and was destroyed by the wordless heavenly book. From the Profound Sky God's memories, I saw that you were already under his control. But now I realize that you don't seem to be under any control. The Divine General of Time said indifferently, the Scarlet Dragon Battle God's disciple? Is he worthy? He's just a shameless villain. The Divine General of Time is indeed under the control of the Profound Sky God, but it's not me. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. In that case, the Divine General of Time is just a title, and you are the inheritor of the Divine General of Time? You can understand it that way. Moreover, the Divine General of Time is not those trash Divine Generals of the War God Temple. The Divine General here is a true God. Under the Scarlet Dragon Battle God, in addition to the 4 great Divine Generals, there is also a Divine General hidden in the dark, the Divine General of Time. The Divine General of Time said slowly, revealing a secret to Ling Zhao. God? The real Divine General of Time should be dead. Chapter 859. That's right. The real Time General died in battle 1,000,000 years ago, and part of his inheritance was obtained by the War God Temple. He was the 2nd-generation Time General, and the one controlled by Xian Tianshan was the 2nd-generation Time General. However, I later obtained the true inheritance of the Time General, killed the 2nd-generation Time General, and snuck into the War God Temple. The God of Time was extremely frank, telling Ling Zhao everything. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. So this person was the 3rd-generation Time General? He didn't expect there to be so many hidden secrets. Why did you sneak into the War God Temple? Ling Zhao asked. The Time General's mission is to protect the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance and find a successor. I only snuck into the War God Temple to investigate the secrets of the War God Temple. Because I discovered that the War God Temple has suddenly become extremely strange in recent years. It actually gave birth to God-level powerhouses one after another. It's laughable that Xian Tianshan thought that everything was under his control. The War God Temple is no longer under his control. The Time General said slowly. The War God Temple has become strange? Did you find out the reason? The gate to the God realm is closed, and the limit of this world is titled supremes. It's almost impossible to become a god. Even if there are gods in the war god temple, they're probably only pseudo-gods who refined a godhead. They can only be considered half-step gods, not true gods at all. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. The Time General nodded and said, "You're right." With the gate of the divine realm closed, the only way to become a deity was to refine a quintessence. However, even a half-step deity would have an extremely long lifespan after refining a quintessence, far surpassing the lifespan of a titled deity. How could an ordinary person resist that? I suspect that all of this is related to the mysterious war god of the war god temple. War god? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as if he thought of something. That's right. Even though I haven't seen a true war god, I know that the war god is definitely a godly spirit realm expert. He's very likely the mastermind behind all of this. The Time General's eyes were slightly serious. A real god? Since your mission is to find a successor, I've already obtained the inheritance. Then your mission should be over, right? Can you let me see your true identity? Ling Xiao looked at the Divine General of Time and said slowly. For some reason, he suddenly felt a sense of familiarity from the Divine General of Time. My first mission has been completed, but there is still a second mission. If the second mission is completed, you will know my identity. The Divine General of Time looked at Ling Xiao with a complicated expression. The second mission? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat, but he still nodded. The entire time cave has been sealed off by the War God Temple with a supreme divine array. There are also many martial arts holy lands that have set up an inescapable net. The inheritance you possess is very attractive. I'm afraid the War God Temple won't let you leave so easily. The Time General glanced at Ling Xiao. War God Temple? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with murderous intent. His primordial spirit spread out and he immediately sensed that the time cave was enveloped by a powerful divine array. The void was sealed. No matter where he left the time cave, he would be discovered. If the realm-breaking shuttle in Ling Xiao's hand was a complete divine weapon, perhaps he would be able to silently break through the time hole and leave. However, a damaged divine weapon would not be able to silently leave under the nose of the War God Hall. Not to mention, the War God Temple had also sent the left and right heavenly venerables this time. Those two were god-level powerhouses with terrifying strength that far surpassed the titled Supreme Venerables. I'll think of a way. I'll think of a way to use the power of the Time Temple to open a passage and help you leave the Time Cave. The War God Temple is too strong. You're far from being their match now. You still need to consolidate your strength. I believe that in the future, you'll definitely have the strength to crush the War God Temple. The Time General sighed softly. Even he didn't think that Ling Xiao had the strength to fight against the War God Temple. He knew how strong the War God Temple was. Even if Ling Xiao had obtained the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God, Ling Xiao's current cultivation was still too weak. The future is too far away. I only want the present. If the War God Temple doesn't provoke me, then it's fine. But if they dare to provoke me, then I'll dare to overturn the War God Temple. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a bright light. Don't be too proud. The War God Temple is very terrifying. You don't know how strong they are. Fine, let's leave the Time Temple first and see the situation outside. The Time General smiled helplessly and left the Time Temple with Ling Xiao. Outside the Time Temple, on the huge square, many geniuses had already left. In particular, Duan Wuji and Murong Xiantian had spread the news that the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God had fallen into Ling Xiao's hands. Therefore, countless geniuses had left the Time Cave to report this news to their sections. That was the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God, the strongest person in the world 1,000,000 years ago. He was a legendary supreme god. Perhaps his inheritance contained the secret to becoming a god. How could people not be tempted? If the successor of the War God Temple had obtained the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God, perhaps no one would dare to covet it. After all, the War God Temple's strength was too terrifying. However, Ling Xiao was a mere rogue cultivator. An ordinary man's wealth would arouse the envy of others. Even if Ling Xiao was related to the Crystal Palace, no one would pay attention to him. Outside the time cave, a storm was brewing. Countless experts had set up an inescapable net, waiting for Ling Xiao to leave. As soon as Ling Xiao left the time cave, he saw Taoist Wuliang and the old goat leading the supreme being experts of the three major tribes waiting outside the time cave. Ling Xiao, something has happened. Taoist Wuliang and the old goat's expressions were very grave as they looked at Ling Xiao. What's going on? Ling Xiao's expression also darkened slightly. The war god temple's left and right heavenly masters, the four great guardian kings, and dozens of divine generals have all been dispatched. There are also many supreme beings of the martial Holy Lands. They have set up an inescapable net outside the time cave. Moreover, they have sealed the entire time cave with a supreme divine array. They are just waiting for you to walk into the trap. Moreover, Long Zhantian, Fire Phoenix Supreme, Azura Supreme, and the others are confronting the martial Holy Lands. The situation is not optimistic. Taoist Wuliang said with a frown. Currently, there were probably more than 100 supreme being experts gathered outside the time cave. Ling Xiao, more importantly, we have received news that the Crystal Palace has been attacked by the Star Palace, the Nantian family, the Emperor Tomb Mountain, the Sky Demon Palace, and the Netherworld Pavilion. The Crystal Palace has suffered heavy casualties. The old goat slowly revealed another piece of news. What? Ling Xiao's gaze instantly became incomparably cold. His entire body emitted a terrifying and monstrous aura, as if it was going to shatter the void and reopen the chaos. It was extremely terrifying. Chapter 860. How could the 5 great sanctuaries attack the Crystal Palace? The Crystal Palace has an ancient divine array. Even titled Supremes do not have the ability to do so. What's going on? Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he stared at the old goat. It is said that the Azure Dragon Discipline King of the Combat God Temple has taken action. Together with the 2 titled Supremes, the Great Sun Demon Honorable, and more than 10 Supremes from the 5 great sanctuaries, the Dragon King is not in the Crystal Palace. They could not withstand such power. Many core experts of the Crystal Palace have escaped. Now, we do not know where they have escaped to. Even if we want to rescue them, we can't. Ling Xiao, I am sorry. The old goat's eyes were filled with anger as he looked at Ling Xiao apologetically. He knew that almost everyone in the Crystal Palace was Ling Xiao's family, especially Long Hanyan, who was Ling Xiao's mother. The old goat was also anxious when he heard the news. However, he did not know where the people of the Crystal Palace had escaped to. Combat God Temple, Sky Demon Palace, you all deserve to die. Ling Xiao's face was extremely cold and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. The aura around him rose and the void instantly shattered. There was no way it could withstand Ling Xiao's current power. Buzz. Ling Xiao suppressed his anger. Suddenly, he realized that Big Radish must be with Long Hanyan and the rest. He hurriedly activated the seal on Big Radish and used the power of the seal to send a message to Big Radish. Big Radish, where are you? How's my mother now? What happened to the Crystal Palace? Ling Xiao was anxious and his murderous intent filled the sky. However, the first thing he had to confirm was the location of Big Radish and the rest. Ling Xiao, you finally contacted me. Come and save us. We are in the reincarnation ocean and we have been surrounded by those damn bastards. Your mother is injured and the Crystal Palace has suffered heavy casualties. Those bastards not only want to take Luo away, they want to destroy the Crystal Palace. Come quickly, I can't hold on for much longer. Big Radish's voice was filled with joy. However, Ling Xiao could tell that Big Radish's voice was filled with fatigue and weakness. Alright, hang in there, I'm coming. Ling Xiao said quickly. Ling Xiao, don't be rash. This might be a trap set by Combat God Temple. The old goat hurriedly said. Old goat, oh, now listen to me. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. His entire body was filled with a monstrous baleful aura. He quickly said, you guys take the sovereigns of the 3 great tribes and go rescue my uncle Long Lai and Sovereign Fire Phoenix. I'll go to the Reincarnation Sea to rescue my mother. Whether it's a trap or not, I have to go this time. After that, Ling Xiao turned to the Time General and said, "Senior Time General, please help me locate the reincarnation ocean. I'm going to kill someone." Ling Xiao's voice was sonorous and forceful, carrying with it a monstrous killing intent. "All right." The god of time immediately agreed. For some reason, Ling Xiao saw a cold killing intent in the eyes of the divine general of time. Said, "All right then. Ling Xiao, we will do our best to block the people from the war god temple and create an opportunity for you. Once you save the people from the Crystal Palace, leave immediately. The war god temple clearly wants to kill you today. As long as you escape, their scheme will naturally fail." Taoist Wu Yang and the old goat sighed softly. They knew that Ling Xiao had already made up his mind. There was no way they could persuade him otherwise. They quickly turned and led the experts of the three great tribes towards the exit of the time cave. Rumble. The Time General exuded an aura as vast as the sea. He formed a seal with his hands, causing the void to tremble. Suddenly, the primal chaos mist above the time shrine spread out. The sky seemed to be torn apart, leading to a mysterious place. "That's the reincarnation ocean. Let's go." The Time General pointed towards the sky above the shrine. His eyes shone brightly. Instantly, he stepped in with Ling Xiao and headed towards the reincarnation ocean. The reincarnation ocean. The black seawater stretched as far as the eye could see. The entire reincarnation ocean was filled with a mysterious aura. On a black island above the reincarnation ocean, a group of figures with terrifying auras surrounded a group of people in the middle. Long Hanyan, Luoluo, the other 7 crown princes other than Long Zhantian and Long Outyen, Little Dragoness Long Xiaoxiao, the dragon tribes Yin Yang Grand Elder, the 4 Grand Elders, and Big Radish were all here. However, at this moment, everyone seemed to be in a sorry state. Long Hanyan was dressed in a robe whiter than snow. Her face was extremely pale and there was a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. Her eyes were extremely cold. Luoluo hugged Long Hanyan. Her clear eyes were filled with tears and worry. The eyes of the Dragon Crown Princes were filled with anger and sorrow. They had seen with their own eyes that many of the people of the Crystal Palace had died in battle. Even Prime Minister Turtle had died. However, they were powerless. The enemy was too strong. They were so strong that their hearts were filled with despair. The Dragon Clans Yin Yang Grand Elder and the 4 Grand Elders of Wind, Rain, Thunder and Lightning were already seriously injured. The 6 Great Supremes sat there cross-legged, protecting Long Hanyan and the others in the center. It was very difficult for them to even stand up. Their breathing was very weak and their eyes were filled with despair. However, at that moment, a powerful spirit formation opened up and protected everyone. Big Radish floated in the void, surrounded by chaotic aura. Divine chains of order intertwined in the air and formed a huge barrier that enveloped everyone. At this moment, Big Radish looked sparkling and radiant. It exuded a fluctuation of divinity. Its eyes were very clear and it looked like a cheerful fatty. Its roots were inserted into the depths of the void as if it was absorbing the energy of endless space. If Ling Xiao was here, he would definitely realize that Big Radish had been promoted to a supreme divine medicine. Rumble. Powerful attacks landed on the barrier, causing it to tremble violently. The void shattered and chaotic fog filled the air. The scene was extremely terrifying. Surrounding everyone were more than 10 experts with monstrous auras. They were all supremes. The leader was a young man in a green dragon robe, a crown on his head, and a pair of cloud-treading boots. He looked extremely valiant. His black hair was loose and his eyes were like divine lamps. He exuded a powerful dragon's aura. He was Discipline King Azure Dragon of the War God Hall. His cultivation was unfathomable. Beside Discipline King Azure Dragon was an old man with white hair and beard. His face was rosy and he wore a yin-yang Taoist robe. His eyes were like divine suns and they were blazing. He looked like a transcendent being. Behind him, there seemed to be a huge sun rising, exuding endless light and heat. The great sun demon supremacy of the Sky Demon Palace was also a titled Supremes. The group of Supremes was led by Discipline King Azure Dragon and the great sun demon supremacy. Chapter 861. On the left of Star Emperor stood a black-robed elder with a stern face. He was the sovereign of the Nanton family, old ancestor Nan. On the right of Star Emperor was a black-robed middle-aged man with a huge black coffin on his back. He was the owner of Emperor Tomb Mountain. There was also an ordinary-looking middle-aged scholar. His aura was fluctuating as though he didn't exist in the void. His eyes were deep. He was the king of assassins of the Netherworld Pavilion, Scholar Extermination, War God Temple, Sky Demon Palace, Star Palace, Nantion Family, Emperor Tomb Mountain and Netherworld Pavilion were all here. Their auras were extremely terrifying. Great Bright King Ginseng, release the spirit barrier if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, when the spirit barrier breaks, I'll destroy your soul. Great Sun Demon Supremacy said coldly. However, his eyes were filled with greed. Great Sun Demon Supremacy didn't have much lifespan left. The Great Bright King Ginseng in front of him was a supreme divine medicine. If he could obtain the Great Bright King Ginseng, he would be able to live another life. How could Great Sun Demon Supremacy not be excited? Not only Great Sun Demon Supremacy, but Star Emperor, Old Ancestor Nantion, Emperor Tomb Mountain's owner, Scholar Extermination and the rest were all filled with greed. A supreme divine medicine was something that even real immortals would fight for, let alone sovereign experts like them. This represented a new life, a new life. You bunch of shameless people. If Long Lai was in the Crystal Palace, would you still dare to come? Let me tell you, my master will be here soon. When that time comes, none of you will be able to escape. All of you will die. Big Radish snorted coldly as he swept his cold gaze across the crowd. Great Bright King Ginseng, the Crystal Palace didn't know what's good for you. You deserve to be destroyed. Who else can you blame? How dare you not hand over the person that Lord Green Dragon wants? You're courting death. Star Emperor sneered coldly. This time, the 6 martial arts holy lands besieged the Crystal Palace. It could be said that Star Emperor was the one who instigated it. Ling Xiao had killed the Ziwei Star Sun and subdued the sky-burning Demon Emperor in the Time Cave. This had infuriated the Star Sovereign and the Great Sun Demon Venerate. In addition, the goddess Luo Luo, whom the War God Shrine was looking for, was in the Crystal Palace. Hence, under the leadership of the Azure Dragon Discipline King, the 6 great saint lands besieged the Crystal Palace and broke through the supreme divine formation of the Crystal Palace. However, Big Radish, Long Hanyen and the others tried to escape by using the Great Void Shift formation. In the end, they were tracked all the way to the Reincarnation Sea by the Azure Dragon Discipline King. Lolua's face instantly turned pale. Her clear eyes were filled with guilt. Mother, hand me over to them. As long as you hand me over, they will let you go. Luo Luo looked at Long Hanyen and pleaded. She looked very obedient and sensible, and her eyes were filled with tears. Good girl Luo Luo. Mother will absolutely not hand you over to them. Moreover, do you think that they will let us off if we hand you over? That can't be. They've always wanted to deal with our Crystal Palace. Long Hanyen hugged Luo Luo in her arms and said tenderly. That's right. Luo, let's hold on for a while longer. Father will definitely come and save us. Long Patian and the others comforted her. Long Lai? You guys are really delusional. Long Lai is already surrounded by the lords of the War God Shrine. At this moment, he might have already been killed. You guys should just give up. Old Ancestor Southern Heaven also sneered. You're talking nonsense. My father is a titled honorable and is invincible. He will definitely come and save us. You baddies, I'll let my father beat you to death. Long Xiao Xiao said in a childish voice. Her clear eyes were filled with anger. Invincible? You guys don't know what's good for you. The 2 heavenly venerates of the War God Shrine are immortal and indestructible. No matter how strong Long Lai is, can he be compared to the immortal? He's dead. Why don't you guys surrender obediently? The Great Sun Demon Venerate said coldly. He was using his words to attack everyone's confidence. Rumble. Other than the Green Dragon Discipline King, the Great Sun Demon Venerate and a dozen other honorable experts were attacking the barrier. The momentum was terrifying. Every attack seemed to be able to shatter the sky. In the reincarnation sea, waves surged and pierced through the sky. However, what shocked them was that the barrier that Big Radish was holding up seemed to be rooted between heaven and earth. It contained a terrifying defensive power. Even when a dozen honorable experts joined forces, they were unable to break it. However, at that moment, Big Radish seemed to have reached his limit. The barrier also started to tremble. Ling Xiao, if you don't come, I really won't be able to hold on. However, even if you come, you should bring more reinforcements. There are two titled honorable here. Big Radish laughed bitterly in his heart as he muttered to himself. Unparalleled divine medicine contained boundless divine power. It was even stronger than a titled honorable. It was comparable to a real godly expert. However, due to the restrictions of the laws of heaven and earth, divine medicine usually couldn't use its own power. For Big Radish to use its own divine power to create a barrier and block a dozen honorable experts for such a long time, there was no one else. Green Dragon Discipline King's eyes glinted and he said indifferently, "Great Bright King Ginseng, do you really think that I can't break your tortoise shell? Since you're courting death, don't blame me for being merciless." Rumble. A boundless dragon power spread out from Green Dragon Discipline King's body. He threw out a punch and the heaven and earth shook. The boundless fist print was like an ancient sacred mountain. In an instant, there were thousands of real dragons that flew across the sky. They contained terrifying power. That power caused Big Radish's expression to change abruptly. It could tell that the Azure Dragon Discipline King was using a supreme divine skill that contained the ultimate destructive power. If Ling Xiao was there, he would definitely realize that Green Dragon Discipline King was performing the Thousand Dragons God-slaying skill. Kacha. Above the enchantment, resplendent runes exploded and the divine chains of order shattered. The true dragons emitted a terrifying aura and contained an unparalleled offensive power. This punch caused the enchantment to violently tremble, as if it would shatter at any moment. Block it. Oh no, this is a huge loss. Big Radish let out a furious roar. It immediately spat out 3 drops of brilliant godly liquid. They were like scorching suns that contained tremendous power. They immediately merged with the barrier and stabilized the barrier that was about to shatter. Big Radish's aura became weak. The 3 drops of divine liquid were its origin divine power. 1 drop had the miraculous effect of reviving the dead. Even Big Radish didn't have much of it in its body. Bastard, you're courting death. Great Sun Demon Honorable, Star Emperor and the others looked pained. That was the divine liquid of the divine medicine. 1 drop of the divine medicine could increase one's lifespan by at least 1,000 years. Yet it was wasted by Big Radish. Chapter 862. Rumble. The enchantment shook violently. After Discipline King Azure Dragon joined in, the pressure on Big Radish instantly reached its peak. Thousand Dragons God-slaying skill, break. Discipline King Azure Dragon's dragon aura was vast. His previous attack was just a probing attack. Now, he finally unleashed all his power. Boom! The sky trembled, and the dragon roar shook the heavens. The reincarnation sea in all directions exploded, and the chaotic reincarnation force gushed out. Azure Dragon Discipline King was shrouded in green divine light. He punched out and his fist was shocking. 3,000 real dragons flew across the sky. Discipline King Azure Dragon stepped on the sky like a peerless dragon god. 3,000 real dragons circled around him and instantly turned into an unparalleled fist print. It pierced through the sky and landed on the enchantment. Oh no! Big Radish's face changed. He tried his best to hold on and block Discipline King Azure Dragon's punch. However, it was too late. The power of 3,000 true dragons was too terrifying. It almost broke the enchantment and became a legendary supreme god. The originally incomparably sturdy enchantment exploded at this moment, turning into a dazzling rain of light that sprinkled down. Big Radish's aura instantly became weak. The Thousand Dragons God-slaying skill of the Dragon Tribe? You actually know the Dragon Tribe's unique skill. Or you. Big Radish's aura was extremely weak as it stared at Discipline King Azure Dragon in shock. There was a look of despair in its eyes. The enchantment was broken. Disciplined King Azure Dragon was more terrifying than Big Radish had expected. He was even stronger than the Great Sun Demon Honorable. 2 titled Supreme Martial Artists and more than 10 Supreme Martial Artists. Even if Ling Xiao was here, what could he do? Mother, Luo Luo is sorry. I've caused trouble for you. Luo Luo's eyes were filled with sadness and guilt as she hugged Long Hanyan. Luo Luo, be good. We don't blame you. It's all because of these bastards. It's a pity that we're going to die here today. Long Hanyan's face was pale as she hugged Luo Luo tightly. Her eyes were filled with despair. Long Hanyan suddenly thought of Ling Xiao, Ling Zhen, Long Lai, and many others. It was a pity that she would not have the chance to see them again. Today, the dragon tribe will be annihilated. The Crystal Palace will disappear completely. Star Emperor's eyes were extremely cold as he stared at the people from the dragon tribe below. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Long Patian, the princes, and the supreme elders of the dragon tribe fell into despair too. There was no chance left. Ziwei, my child, I will avenge you today. I will slaughter the entire Crystal Palace. Even Ling Xiao must die. Star Emperor's eyes were filled with murderous intent. In an instant he threw out a palm strike toward the crowd of the dragon tribe. Star Emperor, you're courting death. At this moment, a voice that contained a monstrous roar exploded between the heavens and the earth like divine thunder. The terrifying sound wave caused everyone's hearts to tremble. Rumble! The sky shattered in an instant, and Ling Xiao appeared above the 9th heaven, exuding monstrous qi and blood. His eyes were full of cold, murderous intent as he stared at Star Emperor. A majestic dragon's roar erupted as Ling Xiao's dragon's might filled the air. He threw a punch at Star Emperor. The firmament trembled and a large patch of the void shattered instantly. A ferocious and monstrous force rushed toward Star Emperor, causing his expression to change drastically. Kacha! Star Emperor and Ling Xiao's palms collided. With a crisp sound, Star Emperor's palm exploded into a bloody mist in the void. He was sent flying a few hundred feet away by Ling Xiao's punch and landed heavily on the reincarnation sea. Rumble! The waves surged and swept high into the sky. The power of a single punch was unimaginable. Ling Xiao slowly walked down from the 9th heaven. His robe was whiter than snow, and he was untainted by a speck of dust. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were dazzling. His body exuded a jade-like aura, just like a peerless divine king. Ling Xiao is back. Cousin Ling Xiao is too powerful. Kill these bastards. The 6 supreme elders of the dragon clan, Long Patian, and the others all had excited looks in their eyes. They instantly became excited. This was simply a return from the jaws of death. In the midst of despair, they saw the light and hope. Brother Ling Xiao is back. He came back to save us. Luo Luo was also extremely excited, and her little face was filled with a bright smile. Yes, Xiao is back. Long Hanyan's eyes were also filled with joy. Although Big Radish was also very excited, there was a tinge of worry in its eyes. Ling Xiao was back, but it could feel that Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the first level of the Supreme Realm. What could he do in the face of 2 titled Supreme Beings and more than 10 Supreme Beings? Ling Xiao. When Star Emperor saw Ling Xiao, his face instantly turned gloomy, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. At the same time, he was shocked. Ling Xiao's punch was too terrifying. His physical body seemed to be able to tear the void apart, and he was like an Archean divine beast, which made him tremble with fear. This little bastard has actually become a supreme being? How is this possible? Old ancestor Nan Tian and the others were also in disbelief. Originally, they thought that Ling Xiao was just an ant that they could easily crush. However, they suddenly realized that Ling Xiao's cultivation was at the first level of the Supreme Realm, and he had defeated Star Emperor with a single punch. This battle prowess was simply terrifying to the extreme. Disciplined King Green Dragon's eyes were also filled with sharpness. Ling Xiao did not even look at them, but came before Long Hanyan and the others. Mother, I'm back. Don't worry, I'll make them pay 10 times or 100 times the price. Although Ling Xiao was smiling, his voice was filled with bone-chilling coldness. Buzz. Ling Xiao grabbed Long Hanyan's arm, and a powerful life origin instantly flowed into Long Hanyan's body. Long Hanyan's injuries started to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Big Radish, distribute these supreme elixirs and take good care of them. I'll kill them. Ling Xiao threw a jade bottle to Big Radish and said flatly. Ling Xiao, don't be rash. Although you're powerful, Disciplined King Green Dragon and Great Sun Demon Honorable are both titled supreme beings, and there are more than 10 supreme beings. You're no match for them. The most important thing now is to leave this place, and then we'll make plans. Big Radish took the jade bottle, but his face was filled with worry as he advised Ling Xiao. Hearing Big Radish's words, Long Hanyan and the rest of the people from the Dragon Tribe's faces changed, and they looked extremely worried. At this moment, they realized that although Ling Xiao was a supreme being, his cultivation was only at the first level of the supreme realm. How could he be a match for the supreme beings from the 6 great sanctuaries? Moreover, Disciplined King Green Dragon and Great Sun Demon Honorable Strength were unfathomable, and they were already titled supreme beings. They were not opponents that ordinary supreme beings could contend against. Xiao, leave quickly. Don't worry about us, you're no match for them. Don't lose your life for nothing. Long Hanyan said anxiously. You want to leave? No one can leave today. Ling Xiao, you killed my son's Zhu. You'll pay for it with your life. Star Emperor's chilling voice rang in the void, and a cold, murderous intent spread out, locking onto Ling Xiao. Chapter 863. That's right. Ling Xiao, you've walked right into our trap. You've killed so many people from the Nantian family. You'll have to pay with your blood. Old ancestor Nantian stood in the air like a celestial being. His eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. There's still my Emperor Tomb Mountain. Ling Xiao, if I give you a few more years, won't you have the power of the sky-devouring Supreme 10,000 years ago? You must die today. I love to kill geniuses and refine their corpses into a supreme zombie. Your corpse can definitely be refined into a supreme zombie. The Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord carried the black coffin on his back and was surrounded by a deathly aura. He looked at Ling Xiao with shock and greed. Many saints and elders of the Emperor Tomb Mountain could be said to have died at Ling Xiao's hands. Furthermore, before Ling Xiao became a martial saint, he already had the power to kill martial saints. Now that he had become a martial saint, his strength was probably even more terrifying. He had to nip it in the bud. Otherwise, when Ling Xiao's cultivation broke through to the 9th level of the Supreme Realm or even the titled Supreme Realm, all of them would die. With the insight of the master of Emperor Tomb Mountain, he could also see that Ling Xiao's physical body was flawless and his vitality was boundless. It was even comparable to the legendary ancient divine beasts. If he was used to refine a heavenly corpse, it would definitely be incomparably powerful and ferocious. Ling Xiao, there's still my underworld pavilion. Today you'll pay with your life. Scholar Mie Xing from the underworld pavilion walked over. He looked elegant and was wearing a green robe. He held a folding fan in his hand and had a handsome face like a teacher. However, those who were familiar with him knew that Scholar Mie Xing was the king of assassins in the underworld pavilion. He killed people easily and was extremely ferocious. Star Emperor, Old Ancestor Nantian, the Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord, and Scholar Mie Xing were all 9th level of the Supreme Realm experts. They surrounded Ling Xiao and emitted a terrifying aura. Long Hanyan and the rest's faces changed instantly. Ling Xiao, leave quickly. Don't worry about us. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Don't be impulsive. Long Hanyan shouted and her eyes were filled with worry. That's right, cousin Ling Xiao. Don't worry about us. We'll just fight them. Long Podin and the others shouted. In their opinion, even though Ling Xiao's talent was extraordinary and he was only at the 1st level of the Supreme Realm, being able to fight against Star Emperor was already an incredible feat. However, Ling Xiao was surrounded by 4 9th level Supreme Martial Artists, not to mention the 2 titled Supreme Martial Artists, Green Dragon Discipline King and the Great Sun Demon Honorable. If Ling Xiao stayed, he would definitely die. Only Big Radish's eyes revealed a hint of suspicion. He realized that Ling Zhao's expression was extremely calm, and there was not the slightest bit of fluctuation. Could it be that this kid has something to rely on? Ling Zhao's expression was very calm, but his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. He stared at the 4 experts in front of him and said, "I'll give you all a chance. Kneel down and admit your crimes. I can only kill the 4 of you. Otherwise, the 4 sanctuaries, Star Palace, Nantian Family, Emperor Tomb Mountain and Netherworld Pavilion will all be wiped out." "Pa, little bastard, you still dare to be so arrogant when you're about to die? Let me kill you." Old Ancestor Nandan laughed out loud, and his eyes were filled with an extremely cold gaze. Rumble. Old Ancestor Nanshan's body emitted a terrifying aura. The black radiance was dazzling, and it instantly gathered into an ancient and mysterious black saber in his hand, emitting an ancient and mysterious aura. It was a supreme weapon, and it was extremely terrifying. Swoosh. Old Ancestor Nantian slashed at Ling Zhao with his saber. The saber radiance was unparalleled, and it was like a long river that split the sky. Billions of saber auras gathered to form the saber, and it was extremely terrifying. Long Han Yen hugged Luo Luo tightly, and her face was extremely pale. Her expression was filled with anxiety. The saber was too terrifying. Everyone from the dragon tribe felt a little suffocated, and their eyes were filled with despair. Old Ancestor Nantian was already so terrifying. How could Ling Zhao block the saber? Star Emperor sneered and said, "Brother Nandan used the heavenly honorable saber to perform the Nantian Void Shattering Slash. This saber has the ability to severely injure a 9th-level supreme martial artist. Ling Zhao is dead meat." That's right. The Nantian Void Shattering Slash is the strongest saber technique of the Nantian family. Together with the heavenly honorable saber, even I don't dare to take it head-on. I'd like to see what this little bastard is relying on. The Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord sneered. Star Emperor, the Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord, and Scholar Extermination did not make a move. In their opinion, Old Ancestor Nantian alone was enough to take care of Ling Zhao. In their opinion, Ling Zhao's punch that defeated Star Emperor was just a sneak attack. A strong physical body did not represent everything. In the face of true strength, all tricks were useless. But Ling Zhao's expression was calm as he slammed his palm down at Old Ancestor Nantian. Rumble. The void trembled, and a palm that was thousands of feet large appeared in the sky. It was ancient and mysterious, like an immemorial divine mountain. It was covered in a layer of golden divine radiance, and it was densely packed with mysterious runes and ancient words. It contained an intent realm that could destroy everything. This was Ling Zhao's pure physical strength, but he had used the divine battle force. The layer of golden radiance that covered the palm print was the divine battle force, and it contained the power to destroy everything. When the palm landed, it was as if an immemorial heavenly emperor was suppressing a demon. The surrounding void shattered at the same time. Boom! Old Ancestor Nanshan's Nantian Void Shattering Slash was instantly suppressed by the palm print, and it exploded. Ling Zhao's palm print landed on the heavenly honorable saber, and a brilliant divine radiance burst out. It then landed on Old Ancestor Nanshan's chest, pushing him into the reincarnation ocean, and it stirred up huge waves. In the reincarnation ocean, a 1,000-foot palm print appeared. A terrifying aura spread out, and it seemed to have solidified. The palm print was distinct. As for Old Ancestor Nantian, he was nowhere to be seen. The entire place fell into dead silence. Regardless of whether it was Star Sovereign, the Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord, or Scholar Extermination, they all stared at the scene with their mouths agape. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Old Ancestor Nantian was a 9th-level Supreme Realm expert, and his Nantian Void Shattering Slash with the heavenly honorable saber was extremely powerful. However, he was still killed by Ling Zhao's palm print. They could feel that Old Ancestor Nantian was like a little chick under Ling Zhao's palm print. He was instantly crushed, and his divine soul was destroyed. What a terrifying attack! Did he do it with his physical strength alone? Star Sovereign's scalp went numb, and his eyes were filled with terror. He did not feel any aura from Ling Xiao's palm print at all. It was purely physical strength, and it killed old ancestor Nantian instantly. If the palm print landed on him, he would not be any better than old ancestor Nantian, right? How can this little bastard be so strong? The Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord was also completely frightened, and his voice began to tremble slightly. Chapter 864. Could he be the legendary Nine Ultimates genius? Scholar Extermination trembled as he looked at Ling Xiao with fear in his eyes. Nine Ultimates genius? These 4 words seemed to have infinite magical power, causing the Star Emperor, the Master of Emperor Tomb Mountain, the Scholar of Extermination, and the sovereigns of the various sacred lands to look solemn. Xiao, he is so powerful? Long Hanyan was also stunned by Ling Xiao's blow. Her eyes were filled with disbelief as though she was in a dream. Mother, brother Ling Xiao is so powerful. He killed that bad guy with a single palm strike. We're saved. Luo said excitedly. She looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of admiration. Is this cousin Ling Xiao's combat power? He killed a LV9 Supreme Realm expert with 1 blow. Could he have the combat power of a titled Supreme Realm expert? Many crown princes and elders from the dragon tribe were shocked. Then, they instantly cheered as their eyes were filled with excitement. Ling Xiao's palm made them see hope. 9 Ultimates genius? I'm afraid it's more than that. This fellow has really given me a huge surprise. Big Radish laughed bitterly. He took a deep look at Ling Xiao and his entire body began to relax. In the sky, Azure Dragon Discipline King and the Great Sun Demon Venerable also looked at Ling Xiao with a deep gaze, revealing a trace of shock. Even if the 2 of them were titled Supreme Realm experts, they wouldn't be able to kill old ancestor Nantian as easily as Ling Xiao. How could this guy have such terrifying combat power? The first one. Those who offend my family will be killed without mercy. Ling Xiao's gaze was cold as he looked at Star Emperor, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, Scholar Extermination, and the honorable beings. Everyone couldn't help but tremble. They suddenly realized that the young man before them wasn't arrogant. Instead, he had sufficient reliance and confidence. That was a combat power that could sweep the world. Given how he was able to kill a 9th-level Venerable Realm expert with a single palm strike, the only ones who would be a match for him were probably conferred paragons. Rumble. Ling Xiao soared through the sky, his blood qi overflowing into the sky as he punched towards Star Sovereign, Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord, and Life-Exterminating Scholar. After going through the 108 tribulations of the Supreme Being, Ling Xiao's true dragon body had reached the great accomplishment stage. He was not far off from the Supreme True Dragon in his previous life. Just by relying on his physical strength, he could unleash unparalleled combat strength. Therefore, he did not use any divine ability or killing technique. He only relied on the strength of his physical body to attack the 3 powerhouses. Everyone, let's attack together. He must have used some forbidden technique just now. Don't be afraid of him. Let's attack together and kill him. Star Emperor roared. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent as he charged towards Ling Xiao. Rumble. Behind Star Emperor, dazzling rays of light filled the air, as if a vast starry sky had appeared. Billions of stars were swaying, and one by one, the stars eventually converged into a mysterious figure, like a god from the Archean antiquity, charging towards Ling Xiao. Myriad Star Soaring Technique. This was the supreme divine skill of Star Palace, far surpassing the supreme martial skill. Although it was only an incomplete divine skill, it still unleashed terrifying power. Kill! The Emperor Tomb Mountain Master and Scholar Mieshing looked at each other and charged towards Ling Xiao. A black ancient sword appeared in the Emperor Tomb Mountain Master's hand. The sword radiance filled the sky, and every stroke was like the river of the underworld, emitting the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves. The chilly wind howled as if it was going to send people into hell. Moreover, the black coffin behind the Emperor Tomb Mountain Master opened, and a supreme heavenly corpse that was emitting golden light appeared. It had sharp fangs, and its body seemed to be cast in gold. It emitted a ferocious aura and charged towards Ling Xiao. As for Scholar Miexing, his body flashed, as if he was hiding in the void. An obscure killing intent filled the air, as if a fatal blow could be unleashed at any time. When the three rank 9 Supreme Realm powerhouses attacked, the terrifying power seemed to be able to pierce through the sky. Even titled Supreme Realm powerhouses would look askance at it. The three of them were originally stronger than old ancestor Nantion. Now that they had joined forces to attack, they unleashed their ultimate killing moves in an attempt to kill Ling Xiao. Long Han Yen hugged Luo Luo tightly, and her eyes were filled with nervousness. Many members of the dragon tribe were also watching the battle in the void, and they were praying for Ling Xiao. Die! Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent, and the golden light around him was extremely bright. He swept across the 9 heavens like a supreme true dragon, and he threw a punch towards Star Emperor. After his rebirth, there were not many people whom Ling Xiao valued. However, his parents were definitely the reverse scale in his heart, and anyone who touched them would die. Therefore, in Ling Xiao's heart, he had already sentenced these people to death. Rumble! A terrifying fist print swept across the void. Ling Xiao activated his true dragon body with the power of the god of war. Although he did not have any powerful combat skills, his physical strength alone could shatter the void, shatter the stars, and burn the rivers and drain the seas. The 1,000 stars flying technique that Star Emperor had unleashed was extraordinary. The divine spirit that was formed by thousands of stars had almost reached the strength of a titled supreme being, and it collided violently with Ling Xiao's fist. Crack! Ling Xiao's fist print was shocking, and the power of the god of war contained a force that could shatter everything. As soon as the divine spirit made contact with Ling Xiao's fist print, it began to shatter, and endless rays of light gushed out. Ling Xiao's fist did not slow down, and it landed directly on Star Emperor's body. Boom! Dazzling runes exploded on Star Emperor's body. It was a supreme battle armor, and it contained a powerful defensive force. However, it only lasted for a moment before it shattered. Star Emperor suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and he was thrown back a few hundred feet. His eyes were filled with horror. If it was not for the supreme battle armor that he was wearing, he would have been killed by Ling Xiao's fist, just like old ancestor Nantion. Only when he faced Ling Xiao did he know how terrifying Ling Xiao was. It was a force that could suppress the heavens, and it was invincible, and it made people lose their fighting spirit and confidence. Clang! The Emperor Tomb Mountain Master's black ancient sword was like a long black river, and it slashed towards Ling Xiao's neck from behind. It was extremely sharp, as if it could pierce through everything. His eyes were filled with killing intent, and he wanted to take advantage of the fact that Ling Xiao was severely injured to cut off Ling Xiao's head. However, Ling Xiao seemed to have eyes on his back. He turned around instantly, and 2 fingers caught the Emperor Tomb Mountain Master's black ancient sword. How is this possible? The Emperor Tomb Mountain Master's scalp went numb. Ling Xiao's physical body could withstand a supreme weapon? Could he be an Archean divine beast? Boom! Chapter 865. After seeing the fate of old ancestor Nantion and Star Sovereign, the Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain no longer dared to take Ling Xiao's attack head-on. He instantly retreated backwards. However, Ling Xiao's attack was extremely fast. It was like a shadow that had completely locked onto the Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain. He was determined to kill him. Block it for me! The Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain shouted crazily. The Supreme Sky Corpse instantly blocked in front of him. It emitted a ferocious aura as it threw a punch at Ling Xiao. The Sky Corpse had been refined by the Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain until it had an indestructible body. Even a supreme weapon couldn't leave any marks on its body. However, Ling Xiao didn't dodge. He actually took the Sky Corpse's punch head-on. His body didn't even sway. The blood energy around him filled the sky and instantly dissolved the Sky Corpse's punch. Clang! When Ling Xiao's palm landed on the Sky Corpse's chest, it actually emitted a metallic sound. In an instant, light shone brightly and a terrifying palm print appeared on the Sky Corpse's chest. With the palm print as the center, the originally incomparably powerful Sky Corpse began to crack. Dense cracks appeared all over its body, like a porcelain that was about to shatter. Roar! The sky corpse seemed to have gone mad. It looked up to the sky and roared. The golden light around its body was dazzling, as if it had turned into a dazzling vortex. It began to crazily devour the energy between heaven and earth. Its broken body became complete in an instant. Sky corpse? I'd like to see how many of my punches you can take. Ling Zhao's eyes were extremely sharp. The power of the god of war circulated throughout his body. He was also shrouded in golden light. His blood energy filled the sky. He was like an undefeatable god of war as he threw a punch at the sky corpse. Rumble! The sky corpse was like a live target. Every time Ling Zhao's punch landed, the sky corpse would violently tremble. Its body was about to explode. However, the sky corpse's terrifying attacks couldn't pose any threat to Ling Zhao. If this continued, the sky corpse would be destroyed by Ling Zhao sooner or later. The Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain's eyes were filled with incomparable shock and pain. Every supreme sky corpse needed countless years to be nurtured. Even in the entire Emperor Tomb Mountain, there were only 3 sky corpses. Sky corpse lock, explode. The Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord suddenly roared. Rumble! The sky corpse roared and stared at Ling Zhao with its blood-red moon-like eyes. Its entire body exuded a ferocious aura. Then, with a loud boom, it exploded and turned into a dazzling golden light. Whoosh, whoosh. Golden chains shot out from the sky corpse's body, crossing the void and intertwining with each other. They were full of golden runes, binding Ling Zhao in an instant. Ling Zhao was like a huge dumpling, his entire body bound by the resplendent golden light, unable to move. This is a good opportunity. Let's kill him together. The master of Emperor Tomb Mountain and Star Sovereign looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with excitement as they charged towards Ling Zhao at the same time. The golden chain that shot out from the sky corpse was the sky corpse lock. It contained an endless amount of sky corpse chi and was integrated with the laws of heaven and earth. It was incomparably strong. Even a supreme weapon could not break it. However, after using this move, the sky corpse would be greatly damaged. It would probably take thousands of years to recover. However, as long as they could kill Ling Zhao, the master of Emperor Tomb Mountain was willing to pay any price. Ling Zhao was too terrifying, causing the hearts of the 3 overlords from the 3 Saint Lands to tremble in fear. Astral River Storm. Emperor Tomb Divine Fist. Mountain River Seal. Star Sovereign, the master of Emperor Tomb Mountain and Scholar Extermination roared at the same time and unleashed their most terrifying attacks. Star Emperor was surrounded by a Milky Way storm, shattering the heavens and the earth. Endless turbulence of the void gathered behind him, forming a vast storm of destruction that swept towards Ling Zhao. The Emperor's Tomb Mountain Lord was surrounded by a deathly aura as his divine power began to burn. This was the Emperor's Tomb Mountain Lord's divine power. It contained the power of destruction and death. It turned into a 1,000-meter-long fist that smashed down towards Ling Zhao. Scholar Annihilation's aura appeared in every corner of the void. Heaven, earth, mountains, rivers, and the surrounding world seemed to begin to collapse. In the end, it turned into an ancient divine seal that seemed to contain the power of endless mountains and rivers. It wanted to turn everything into dust. Rumble! The all-out attacks of the 3 utmost powerful beings landed on Ling Zhao's body at the same time. Instantly, the heavens trembled as the void around Ling Zhao exploded. The samsara seawater below was swept up into the heavens as well, turning into a chaotic power of samsara that swept up towards Ling Zhao. The momentum was too terrifying. It was like a bright divine sun had exploded above the reincarnation sea. The light was so bright that no one could open their eyes. Long Hanyan's face instantly turned pale. Ling Zhao was trapped by the sky corpse lock and took the attacks of the 3 overlords at the same time. Could he still survive? Ling Zhao, you have to hold on. Many people from the dragon tribe were anxious as they looked at the center of the battle in the distance. If Ling Zhao died, they would have no hope at all. Ling Zhao is dead meat. That's right. Being trapped by the sky corpse lock and the all-out attack of the 3 overlords, even a titled supreme being can't take it. Ling Xiao is dead meat. So what if he's a nine-severing genius? Dead geniuses are nothing. The supreme beings from the 6 great sanctuaries had cold looks in their eyes as they discussed. Previously, Ling Xiao's terrifying combat strength had made them feel extremely pressured. However, at this moment, they all relaxed at the same time. Star King, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, and Exterminating Life Scribe stared at Ling Xiao's location, not daring to relax. Is Ling Xiao dead? Even if he's not dead, I'm afraid he's severely injured. Star King sneered. This little bastard's combat strength is too strong. However, with the Sky Corpse lock, he's definitely dead. Emperor Tomb Mountain Master said coldly. Is that so? At this moment, an indifferent voice suddenly sounded in their ears. What? Star King, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, and Exterminating Life Scribe looked as though they had seen a ghost. Their eyes were filled with horror. Rumble. The bright light dissipated, and within the Sky Corpse lock, Ling Xiao's eyes were indifferent. The light around him was dazzling, and he was not injured at all. The full blow of the 3 supremes had landed on Ling Xiao's body, but he was not injured at all. Star King, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, and Exterminating Life Scribe were in disbelief. All of you are too weak. Therefore all of you can die. Ling Xiao said flatly. Rumble. A terrifying aura instantly erupted from Ling Xiao's body, causing the sky to tremble and the surrounding void to vibrate. The extremely sturdy Sky Corpse lock on his body instantly shone brightly before it shattered. Ling Xiao bathed in the light that filled the sky. His clothes were whiter than snow, his black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were dazzling. He walked towards the 3 supremes step by step, like a divine king that had descended to the mortal world. Rumble. Ling Xiao threw out a punch. The fist print was extremely powerful, as though it had covered the entire heaven and earth. Star King, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, and Exterminating Life Scribe had no chance to dodge. It was as though the entire heaven and earth were pressing down on them. Although the 3 of them had performed extremely powerful techniques to block Ling Xiao's punch, they were still helpless. No matter how many techniques you have, I'll break them with a punch. Puff. Chapter 866. In the Sky Corpse lock, Ling Xiao had withstood the full blow of the 3 honorable martial artists because they wanted to see the limits of his physical body. Ling Xiao's true dragon body had reached the great success stage and the divine war power had gathered around him. In addition to the sky-devouring secret skill, he was able to withstand the full blow of the 3 honorable martial artists without being injured. Even a titled honorable martial artist would not dare to take the full blow of Star Emperor, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, and Exterminating Scholar. However, Star Emperor, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, and Exterminating Scholar were all severely injured by Ling Xiao's attack. Everyone was shocked. A LV1 Supreme Martial Artist had crushed 3 LV9 Supreme Martial Artists. How many years had it been since such a peerless talent had appeared in the God of War continent? Cousin Ling Xiao is too powerful. Could it be that he already has the combat strength of a titled honorable martial artist? Long Patin was trembling and his eyes were filled with excitement. Since Ling Xiao is a 9 Marvels genius and a LV1 Supreme Martial Artist, he naturally has the combat strength of a titled honorable martial artist. It is easy for him to crush a LV9 Supreme Martial Artist. I didn't expect that our dragon tribe would finally have a peerless genius. He is a 9 Marvels genius. How many years has it been since such a genius appeared in the God of War continent? The Yin and Yang Supreme Elders were trembling with excitement as if they felt the same glory. Mother, Brother Ling Xiao will definitely chase those bad guys away. Luo was full of confidence in Ling Xiao. Her big eyes turned into crescents as she smiled innocently. Xiao, this is my Xiao. Long Hanyan's heart was surging with emotions. She was so excited that she could not control herself. Rumble. Ling Xiao stepped on the void and walked over. His body exuded an unparalleled aura as his cold, killing intent locked onto Star Emperor, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, and Exterminating Scholar. The faces of the 3 men instantly turned incomparably pale. Their faces were ghastly and their eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Xiao, who was originally like an ant in their eyes, had grown to such a terrifying level. Master Discipline King, Lord Demon Venerable, please kill this little bastard. Star Emperor gritted his teeth and turned to Green Dragon Discipline King and Great Sun Demon Venerable. Sirs, please kill him. Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord and Life Extermination Scholar were completely terrified and begged at the same time. Today, no one can save you. Ling Zhao's gaze was cold. He slammed his palm across the air. The terrifying palm print was like an immemorial divine mountain, pressing down on the three of them. How dare you! At this moment, a cold voice exploded in the void. Rumble! The Azure Dragon Discipline King moved. His eyes were cold and his face was dignified. He was like a celestial emperor on patrol. His entire body exuded an incomparably terrifying dragon's might as he threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, who gave you the guts to kill someone in front of me? Azure Dragon Discipline King said indifferently. Accompanied by the dragon roars of the heavens, 3,000 true dragons flew across the sky. The heaven and earth seemed to be on the verge of shattering. The ferocious and terrifying dragon power seemed to want to turn everything into dust. 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique, 3,000 true dragons soar in the sky. Ling Xiao is dead for sure. Discipline King Qing Long's 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique is the best in the world. It has even slaughtered titled supremes. Star Emperor looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of hatred. That's right. The 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique is the ultimate technique of the ancient dragon tribe. It was bestowed to Discipline King Qing Long by the god of war. Although Discipline King Qing Long is not from the dragon tribe, he is better than the dragon tribe. Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord sneered. Ling Xiao is dead for sure. Life Extermination Scholar said coldly. Previously, Big Radish's barrier had been destroyed by Discipline King Qing Long's 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique. Everyone was full of confidence in Discipline King Qing Long rumble. Ling Xiao and Discipline King Qing Long's fists collided. The void instantly shattered and turbulence filled the sky, turning into a terrifying storm. It merged the power of 3,000 true dragons and seemed to want to turn Ling Xiao into dust. 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He did not expect Discipline King Qing Long of the War God Hall to know the 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique. You are not from the dragon tribe, but you dare to cultivate the supreme technique of the dragon tribe. Damn it. Today, I will show you what the true 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique is. Rumble. The sky rumbled as Ling Xiao's palm slammed toward Discipline King Qing Long. Immediately, a monstrous dragon aura exploded and dragon roars resounded between heaven and earth. Roar. Behind Ling Xiao, a chaotic mist filled the air as if a vast world was rising. As he slammed his palm across the sky, similarly, 3,000 true dragons roamed the world with a ferocious aura. Boom. Discipline King Qing Long's 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique was like a piece of paper. The 3,000 true dragons instantly shattered and the fist print was turned into dust. What? You know the 1,000 dragons god-slaughtering technique too? Discipline King Qing Long's expression changed drastically and his eyes were filled with disbelief. However, Ling Xiao's palm had already landed. It was like a divine mountain that contained the power to suppress everything. Clang. Azure Dragon Dharmaraja's palm slashed horizontally like a vast heavenly river and instantly collided with the 10,000 zhang tall divine mountain. Heaven and earth trembled and divine light burst forth. 3,000 true dragons roared at the same time. Everyone felt an extremely oppressive aura, and their faces turned pale in an instant. Discipline King Qing Long's palm was shattered. Ling Xiao's palm contained the power to crush everything and directly swept away the saber light in the sky. Then, it ruthlessly imprinted on Discipline King Qing Long's arm. Boom! One of Discipline King Qing Long's arms instantly exploded into a bloody mist. His entire body was also sent flying a few hundred feet by Ling Xiao before he could stabilize his body. Ling Xiao strode over with golden true dragons circling around his body. His black hair fluttered in the wind and his dragon aura was vast. He was like an ancient divine dragon that controlled everything and was unstoppable. Star Sovereign, Emperor Tomb Mountain's master, and Scholar Extermination, who originally believed that Discipline King Qing Long would win, were instantly dumbfounded as if they had been slapped in the face. They didn't dare to believe that Ling Xiao not only knew the Thousand Dragons God slaughtering technique, but he was even more powerful than Discipline King Qing Long. He actually defeated Discipline King Qing Long with a single palm? Ling Xiao, where did you get the Thousand Dragons God slaughtering technique? If you don't explain yourself today, I will definitely make you beg for death. Discipline King Qing Long glared at Ling Xiao. His eyes were filled with murderous intent and his face was ashen. I am a member of the Dragon Clan. The Thousand Dragons God slaughtering technique was naturally passed down to me by a senior from the Dragon Clan. On the other hand, you are just a sun-swallowing snake. How dare you covet the supreme technique of my Dragon Clan? You really deserve to die. Ling Xiao's gaze was cold as he stared at Discipline King Qing Long. He had already heard from Big Radish that Discipline King Qing Long was the main culprit who destroyed the Crystal Palace's divine array. Countless members of the Dragon Clan in the Crystal Palace had died at the hands of Discipline King Qing Long. Ling Xiao's hand was filled with murderous intent. He would definitely not let Discipline King Qing Long off. You can actually see my true form? Discipline King Qing Long stared at Ling Xiao as if he had seen a ghost. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Chapter 867. The sun-devouring snake was an ancient mutated species. Legend had it that it could devour the sun. Ling Xiao felt a strong dragon bloodline from Discipline King Azure Dragon's body. It was the dragon bloodline that allowed him to use the 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique. The Dragon Clan's bloodline was probably extracted from the Dragon Clan's experts by the Azure Dragon Discipline King when he slaughtered them. Discipline King Azure Dragon's hands were stained with the blood of the dragon race. He deserved to die. No. The dragon race doesn't have the 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique. Even the Imperial Dragon scripture is incomplete. Only Long Ong, the leader of the dragon race a million years ago, had the true 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique. Did you find Long Ang's inheritance? Ling Xiao, hand over Long Ang's inheritance and I can spare your life. Azure Dragon Discipline King seemed to have thought of something. His eyes flashed and he suddenly revealed a look of incomparable greed. Long Ang's inheritance was the most orthodox inheritance of the true dragon. It contained the complete 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique and the Imperial Dragon scripture. It was extremely attractive to Discipline King Azure Dragon. You're about to die and you still dare to covet Senior Long Ang's inheritance? You've brought this upon yourself. Today, I'll kill you with the 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with killing intent as he charged towards Discipline King Azure Dragon. Rumble. The world trembled as Ling Xiao's true dragon body erupted. His body was invincible. His entire body emitted a terrifying wave that seemed to be able to tear the sky apart. His every punch and move contained the power to shatter space. At this moment, Ling Xiao used the 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique. The true dragons were like real dragons, terrifying to the extreme. After Ling Xiao became a supreme, his strength had increased by more than 100 times. In Ling Xiao's hands, the 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique had also reached the small success stage. A terrifying dragon roar shook the world. Ling Xiao's palm covered the sky. Immediately, 9,000 true dragons appeared and covered the entire sky above the reincarnation sea. Against this monstrous palm, Discipline King Azure Dragon had no room to dodge. You actually have the bloodline of the divine dragon in your body? Truly, the heavens have not let me down. As long as I kill you, I will be able to cultivate the 10,000 Dragons God-slaying technique to the great perfection stage. Ling Xiao, prepare to die. Instead of being shocked, Azure Dragon Discipline King was overjoyed. His eyes were filled with greed. A cyan dragon-shaped ancient sword appeared in his palm. There were mysterious patterns on it, and its aura was monstrous. The dragon-shaped ancient sword spat out a monstrous sharpness and slashed towards Ling Xiao. Suddenly, the Milky Way was vast and mighty, and chaos rose. Under this sword, heaven and earth were overturned, as if the world was going to be destroyed. Endless sword light slashed towards Ling Xiao. It's the Dragon God Sword. I didn't expect the Azure Dragon Discipline King to bring the Dragon God Sword. The great sun demon Venerable's eyes flashed and he was shocked. In the legends, the Dragon God Sword was the clan protection treasure of the Dragon Clan. It was also given to Discipline King Azure Dragon by Lord War God. It was a supreme divine weapon. Although it was damaged, its true power far surpassed ordinary sovereign weapons. Now that it was being activated by Master Azure Dragon, that terrifying power seemed to be able to sweep away all supremes. It was as if it had touched the legendary realm of gods. Rumble. A palm print swept across the sky, and 9,000 true dragons intertwined. It contained a terrifying power, and when it collided with the Dragon God Sword, it instantly exploded. The sky was filled with dazzling divine light, and the void shattered. Ling Xiao's palm landed on the Dragon God Sword, and instantly, dazzling runes exploded, flattening the reincarnation sea by a few dozen feet. Boom! Ling Xiao and Discipline King Azure Dragon both trembled and retreated a few hundred feet. Ha! Ling Xiao, today I will use Long Ang's sword to kill you and take away the Dragon Clan's supreme inheritance. The Discipline King Azure Dragon sneered. He held the Dragon God Sword in his hand, and his body emitted a powerful divinity fluctuation as he charged towards Ling Xiao. Dragon God Sword? Today, the Dragon God Sword shall be returned to its rightful owner. Discipline King Azure Dragon, do you think that is my true power? Ling Xiao said indifferently, and a dazzling light flashed in his eyes. What? Discipline King Azure Dragon was stunned. He had a bad feeling in his heart. Today, I will let you see what the true Thousand Dragons god-slaying skill is, because it can really slay gods. Ling Xiao said coldly and instantly attacked. Rumble. The sky shattered, and behind Ling Xiao, a chaotic mist filled the air. Heaven and earth rose, and the roars of dragons resounded. Behind Ling Xiao, tens of thousands of true dragons gathered at the same time. The power of 10,000 true dragons caused Discipline King Azure Dragon's expression to change. His heart began to tremble unconsciously. Boom! Ling Xiao's palm swept across the sky, and the tens of thousands of true dragons turned into a dazzling divine light. A giant dragon emitting seven-colored light flew out from it. Although the seven-colored giant dragon looked to be only a few hundred feet long, its ferocious aura was even more terrifying than tens of thousands of true dragons. Because this was a true divine dragon. Seven-colored divine dragon. The seven-colored divine dragon coiled around Ling Xiao's palm. It was ancient and mysterious, ferocious and unfathomable. In an instant, it arrived in front of Discipline King Azure Dragon. How can you use the power of a divine dragon? This is impossible. Dragon God Sword kill. Discipline King Azure Dragon's eyes were filled with disbelief. With a roar, the Dragon God Sword in his hand shone brightly, and he slashed at the seven-colored divine dragon. Rumble. The blazing sword radiance was extremely terrifying, but it was instantly shattered by Ling Xiao's palm. The seven-colored divine dragon crashed into the Dragon God Sword, and at the same time, imprinted on Discipline King Azure Dragon's chest. Monstrous power instantly erupted. Discipline King Azure Dragon spat out blood, and his eyes were filled with horror. He was instantly sent flying a few hundred feet, and he crashed into the reincarnation sea. Even the Dragon God's sword flew out of his hand. The power of a palm was so great. Whether it was Long Hanyan, the people from the Dragon Tribe, Star Sovereign, Emperor Tomb Mountain Master, Exterminating Scholar, the honorable beings from the 6 great sanctuaries, or even the great Sun Demon Honorable, they were all stunned. Previously, Ling Xiao had the combat power of a titled Supreme. He killed old ancestor Nantian with one punch, and defeated 3 supreme beings with one palm. They had already overestimated Ling Xiao's combat power. But now, they realized that they had still underestimated Ling Xiao's combat power. How was this combat power comparable to a titled supreme? It was simply crushing a titled supreme, invincible in the supreme realm. Was this really the power that a young man at the first level of the supreme realm could unleash? Everyone felt like they were in a dream. Oh my god, Ling Xiao actually broke the taboo and advanced to the legend realm, becoming an unprecedented 10 Ultimates genius? Big Radish swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and its eyes were filled with shock. Previously, it had only guessed that Ling Xiao's combat power might not only be a 9 Ultimates genius, but now that it had seen Ling Xiao defeat Discipline King Azure Dragon, it was still in disbelief. 10 Ultimates genius. That was almost a legend. In everyone's knowledge, there had never been a 10 Ultimates genius in the past million years. Even the sword demon Duguchobai was probably only at the 9 Ultimates realm. Perhaps such a person had appeared in the primordial age, and that person was no longer a human, but a true god. 10 Ultimates genius. How is this possible? The voice of the Emperor Tomb Mountain Master was trembling, and his eyes were filled with horror. This little bastard, how could he be so strong? Star Sovereign's eyes were filled with unwillingness, but his body began to tremble uncontrollably. The legendary 10 Ultimates genius, breaking the taboo, advancing to the legend realm, and being invincible. And now, he had really appeared in front of them. Chapter 868. Rumble. The reincarnation seawater exploded as the chaotic reincarnation energy surged. Discipline King Azure Dragon rushed out of the reincarnation seawater. However, he was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled, his face was pale, and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. There was a big hole in his chest, and blood was spurting out. Ling Xiao had pierced through his chest. Even though a titled supreme being had strong vitality and could recover in a short time, Discipline King Azure Dragon was still severely injured. Ling Xiao's attack was simply too terrifying. 10,000 dragons god-slaying skill, 10,000 true dragons condensed into a 7-colored divine dragon. The power was almost beyond the limit of a titled supreme being. Even Discipline King Azure Dragon could not withstand it. Cough cough. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. Everyone, let's kill him. Discipline King Azure Dragon's eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent as he coughed out blood. The murderous intent in his heart had reached its peak. Rumble. The dragon god sword turned into a ray of light and flew back into Discipline King Azure Dragon's hand. Discipline King Azure Dragon's body shone brightly as his blood aura spread out. It burned instantly, causing his aura to skyrocket. Discipline King Azure Dragon is going all out? Everyone, let's kill Ling Xiao today. Star Emperor roared as his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Rumble. The Star Sovereign, the Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord, the Extermination Scholar, and more than a dozen supreme beings from the 6 great sacred grounds attacked at the same time. Streaks of blazing divine light swept across the sky as if they were going to tear apart the heavens and the earth. With Discipline King Azure Dragon's arrogance, he would not join forces with everyone to attack Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao's attack had frightened him. Legend had it that Ling Xiao was a 10 extremities genius who had broken the taboo and become a legend. Such a peerless genius combat strength could not be measured by cultivation base. If the battle continued, Discipline King Azure Dragon might really die here. Hence, he would rather put down his pride and join forces with the Great Sun Demon Honorable and others to kill Ling Xiao. Rumble. The Great Sun Demon Honorable also attacked. Blazing divine light surged around him, and there seemed to be a bright divine sun rising behind him. The Great Sun Demon Venerable's hair and beard were all white, and he looked like an immortal. His eyes were extremely sharp, and they were filled with an extremely cold sharpness. Ling Xiao die. The Great Sun Demon Venerable said coldly as he slammed his palm down towards Ling Xiao. Suddenly, the palm print shocked the heavens. 10 suns appeared in the 9 heavens, rumbling as they descended. The blazing flames seemed to want to burn the world, turning everything into ashes. It's the Great Sun Demon Venerable's 10 sun burning heavens technique. This is a true deity-level martial art. Ling Xiao is dead for sure. Kill him. Star Emperor and the others were shocked. They were filled with confidence, and their eyes were filled with coldness. The 10 suns burning the heavens technique was said to be an ancient divine technique. It contained the power to burn rivers and overturn seas. When used, it was like a divine sun descending from the 9 heavens, wanting to burn the world. The great sun demon Highness had once slain a titled 9 heavens with the 10 suns burning sky art. It was extremely powerful. Azure Dragon Discipline King also roared. He burned all the essence and blood in his body and poured it into the dragon god sword, causing the sword to burst out with incomparably bright light. Rays of divine light were awakened, containing extremely terrifying sharpness, and slashed across the sky toward Ling Xiao. The dragon god sword swept across 90,000 miles with unparalleled sword chi. It was like a Milky Way across the 9 heavens, slashing towards Ling Xiao. With Azure Dragon Discipline King and the Great Sun Demon Venerable as the leaders, in addition to a dozen titled 9 heavens, this force was extremely terrifying. It was almost comparable to the legendary deities. However, Ling Xiao's eyes were still extremely calm. So what if you come together? You are just a bunch of weaklings. Why should I be afraid? Ling Xiao's indifferent voice exploded in the void. Boom. He instantly soared into the sky as the blood essence around him rose. The golden light was extremely dazzling, and a majestic dragon aura resounded between the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao was bathed in dazzling golden light, and he turned into a golden true dragon. He traversed the heavens, and the dragon aura filled the air as he soared through the 9 heavens. This was the supreme superpower that Ling Xiao had awakened after he became a titled 9 heavens supreme. He could transform into a primordial true dragon with unparalleled divine aura that could suppress everything. Swoosh! The huge true dragon swept across the heavens, sweeping towards the great sun demon Venerable. It was as if a golden divine light storm had been set off. The golden dragon scales were like blades, and they instantly slashed onto a divine sun, exploding with terrifying power. Boom! That divine sun exploded, and the true dragon was unparalleled. Its speed was extremely fast, and it charged towards the great sun demon Venerable's palm. The 10 divine suns formed by the 10 heavens burning skill were all swept away by the true dragon, and they all exploded in the sky. The sky was filled with true sun fire. Under the great sun demon Venerable's control, it seemed as if it was going to completely refine Ling Xiao. However, the true dragon that Ling Xiao had transformed into was bathed in flames, and his body exuded a divine light. He was not affected at all. What? The great sun demon Venerable's eyes narrowed. He felt as if he was really facing a primordial true dragon. That terrifying dragon aura made his heart tremble. Boom! The huge true dragon claw grabbed at the great sun demon Venerable, and that horrifying palm print was crushed. The true dragon swept across the sky and clashed with the great sun demon Venerable. The huge dragon tail sent the great sun demon Venerable flying. Kill! Ling Xiao's battle intent surged, and his golden dragon eyes were filled with cold killing intent. After he sent the great sun demon Venerable flying, he charged towards the titled 9 heavens supreme. Those titled 9 heavens supreme were only at level 4 or 5. How could they be a match for Ling Xiao? Seeing the ferocious true dragon charging towards them, all of them felt their scalps go numb. They quickly executed their strongest attacks, trying to push the true dragon back. However, when their attacks landed on the true dragon's body, they couldn't even break through the dragon scales, let alone injure Ling Xiao. The true dragon that Ling Xiao had transformed into was surrounded by golden light, and there were circles of golden vortexes that contained a terrifying devouring power. That was the power of the heaven-devouring secret skill. No matter what kind of attack it would all be devoured. Gotcha! The huge dragon tail swept across the sky like a golden blade radiance. In an instant, it destroyed a black ancient sword. Then, the dragon tail struck 2 titled 9 heavens supreme. Boom! They didn't even have time to scream before they exploded into a bloody mist in the sky. Swoosh! The true dragon took a big gulp, and the flesh and primordial spirits of the 2 titled 9 heavens supreme were devoured. They turned into boundless energy that was refined and absorbed by the true dragon. The flesh and primordial spirits of titled Nine Heavens Supreme contained boundless essence, and it was comparable to a supreme elixir. A drop of titled Nine Heavens Supreme's blood could allow a low-level martial artist to break through a few realms. Chapter 869. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. The great sun demon Reverend's eyes were filled with killing intent. The two sovereigns that were killed by Ling Xiao were the elders of the Sky Demon Palace. He roared and a crimson golden battle saber appeared in his hand. It contained flames and ominous aura as it slashed towards Ling Xiao. Rumble! The radiance from the crimson golden battle saber was unstoppable. It was as though a golden divine bird covered in flames was flying across the sky. Its golden wings were as sharp as blades and it had 3 legs. It was the legendary ancient divine beast, the 3-legged golden crow. At the same time, the dragon god sword also slashed towards Ling Xiao. The sword chi swept across the sky and created huge waves above the reincarnation sea. Ling Xiao's golden eyes were filled with sharpness. He suddenly roared towards the sky and the dragon roar shook the sky. The space around him shattered. The huge dragon pounced across the sky and its sharp claws clashed with the crimson golden battle saber. Clang, clang, clang. Sparks flew as the dragon roared in the sky and fought with the 3-legged golden crow. In the end, the 3-legged golden crow was smashed into pieces and the dragon claw slammed onto the crimson golden battle saber. An earth-shattering divine force exploded and the great sun demon Reverend's arm went numb. He almost lost all feeling in his arm and was sent flying. Boom! The dragon that Ling Xiao transformed into swept its tail and shattered the sword chi in the sky. Together with the dragon god sword, it slammed onto the green dragon Discipline King. Green dragon Discipline King coughed out blood and was sent flying. Swoosh! The golden true dragon swept through the void at an extremely fast speed. It stretched out its claws and pierced through the chests of the 4 supremes like a golden lightning bolt. It was unstoppable like a skewer of candied hawthorn. Rumble! The 4 supremes exploded in the void and were swallowed by the true dragon in one gulp. The true dragon that Ling Xiao transformed into swept across the 9 heavens with an unstoppable momentum, shocking everyone. The dragon that cousin Ling Xiao transformed into, the strength of his bloodline is probably close to the divine dragon bloodline realm. It's too terrifying. Long Pot inside and his eyes were filled with shock. The supreme elders of the 6 great dragon tribes were also dumbfounded. The vast dragon aura that Ling Xiao exuded caused their hearts to tremble. Compared to Ling Xiao, it was as if Ling Xiao was a true dragon. Is this the body of a true dragon? A complete dragon body can kill celestial beings and defeat titled battle pet warriors. I can't believe that Xiao has reached such a level. Long Hanyan was also excited as she exclaimed. Ling Xiao had also imparted the ancestral dragon secret skill to Long Hanyan. Naturally, Long Hanyan could tell that what Ling Xiao displayed was the power of the true dragon body. With just the strength of his physical body, he was able to suppress 2 titled battle pet warriors and kill many honorable ones. This kind of strength was terrifying to the extreme. This fellow is really a pervert. Big Radish widened its eyes and said speechlessly. However, everyone was visibly relaxed. With Ling Xiao around, they were completely safe. Hold him back. My War God Temple's 2 great Empyreans are about to arrive. When the 2 great Empyreans arrive, Ling Xiao will definitely die. The Azure Dragon Discipline King transmitted his voice to the great Sun Demon Supremacy and roared. All right. The great Sun Demon Supremacy's eyes revealed a tinge of madness. Rumble! The Azure Dragon Discipline King's body shone brightly and he turned into a huge green snake that was 10,000 feet long. His body was emitting green divine light and his snake scales were dazzling. He raised his triangular snake head high and his eyes were filled with viciousness. It was the original body of the Azure Dragon Discipline King, the sun-devouring Ba Snake. The great Sun Demon Supremacy's body shone brightly and flames rose as he revealed his original body. Chirp! A sharp chirp that could pierce through gold and stones was heard. The great sun demon supremacy turned into a golden divine bird that was 10,000 feet tall. His body was covered in golden flames and he had 3 legs. His body shone brightly like a golden sun. 3-legged golden crow? Long Hanyan exclaimed. She did not expect the original body of the great sun demon supremacy to be a 3-legged golden crow. The great sun demon supremacy was very mysterious. Even Long Lai did not know what his original body was. Now, it seemed that the great sun demon supremacy possessed the bloodline of the ancient divine beast, the 3-legged golden crow. Even if he was not a pure-blooded divine beast, he was not far from it. Rumble. The heavens and earth shook and the void shattered. The swallowing sun-ba serpent and the 3-legged golden crow emitted ferocious auras as they charged towards the huge golden dragon. Above the reincarnation sea, huge waves billowed and the chaotic reincarnation power filled the air. The 3 ancient divine beasts clashed. Swoosh! The swallowing sun-ba serpent was ferocious. Its body swept across the sky and it wanted to entangle the dragon. It contained an extremely strong strangling force. The 3-legged golden crow's speed was extremely fast. Its 3 sharp claws were like sharp blades as they swiped towards the dragon's head. Those 3 sharp claws were even more terrifying than a supreme weapon. Even a mountain range would be turned into dust in an instant. Rumble. The huge true dragon reached out with its claws and clashed with the 3-legged golden crow. There was a burst of brilliant golden light. Then, it spat out a beam of golden destructive light from its mouth and slammed into the ba serpent. Kacha! That destructive divine light contained the invincible power of the god of war. It instantly shattered the swallowing sun ba serpent's scales and broke half of its tail. Tun Ri ba serpent went berserk. Green divine light spread all over its body, instantly turning into many divine chains of order. They swept through the air and wrapped around the huge true dragon. At the same time, the swallowing sun-ba serpent opened its gaping maw and bit down viciously on the dragon. The swallowing sun-ba serpent's body seethed with green light as it pulsed with the power of devouring. It was almost as if it wanted to swallow the dragon whole. Rumble! The dragon shone with dazzling light as ancient magical symbols appeared around it. At the same time, a 3-legged, 2-eared cauldron appeared, emanating a terrifying aura that seemed capable of devouring the heavens and devouring the earth. It was the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron. In the face of the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, the devouring power of the swallowing sun-ba serpent was pitifully weak. Rumble! The King Heaven Devourer Cauldron spun, then slammed down onto the swallowing sun-ba serpent's head. It was as if an ancient mountain were crushing down onto it. The swallowing sun-ba serpent's vision went dark, and it staggered backward as if it were about to fall from the highest heavens. Rumble! The dragon swooped down, its eyes cold as it slashed out with its claws. Dazzling sword light tore through the sky, and the swallowing sun-ba serpent's scales exploded. A gaping wound appeared on its abdomen, as if it were about to be ripped open. The swallowing sun-ba serpent howled in pain. Its body thrashed violently as it lashed out at the dragon. Whoosh! Chapter 870. Ryumble. The true dragon's body glowed brightly, as if a resplendent sun had exploded. The true dragon moved like lightning, opening its mouth and biting down on the body of the swallowing sun-ba snake. At the same time, its tail lashed out like a bolt of golden lightning, slamming into the 3-legged golden crow and sending him tumbling backward. The 3-legged golden crow's wings shattered, and he floated down onto the sea of reincarnation, a look of terror in his eyes. "You're all going to die today." The true dragon's eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent, and its violent roar shook the sky. Rumble! The King Heaven Devourer Cauldron shone with dazzling light, filling the sky with a golden godlight that transformed into a vortex that sucked in the Sun Devourer Basilisk and the 3-legged golden crow. The King Heaven Devourer Cauldron was like an ancient mountain, towering up into heaven and earth. Its surface was covered with mysterious, ancient designs that seemed to contain the secrets of heaven and earth. Golden chains of order shot out of the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, wrapping around the Sun Devourer Basilisk and the 3-legged golden crow, then pulling them toward the cauldron. Ling Xiao, in true dragon form, was using the power of the King Heaven Devourer cauldron to try to suck in the Sun Devourer basilisk and the three-legged golden crow. Ruyuumble. The Sun Devourer basilisk and the three-legged golden crow's eyes shone with terror, and they struggled violently. Unfortunately, they couldn't break free from the chains. The aura of the King Heaven Devourer cauldron caused their scalps to tingle with fear, and made them feel like they were in mortal danger. "Let us go, Ling Xiao," King Heaven Devourer basilisk said. "I'll let you go, and we'll forget about all our grudges." The voice of Guardian King Azure Dragon came from the mouth of the sun-devouring Ba Serpent. Although he was pretending to be calm, there was still a trace of fear in his voice. "That's right. Ling Xiao, if you push us too far, we'll just die together. If we self-detonate, it doesn't matter how strong you are, you'll still die," the three-legged golden crow said, trying to put on a brave front. Dharmaraja Azure Dragon and Demon Paragon Great Sun were terrified, and were convinced that if they were devoured by the King Heaven Devourer cauldron, they would perish. They had become titled supreme beings and were only half a step away from becoming immortal and indestructible. How could they be willing to die just like that? Perish together? Do you think you're worthy? You're still so stubborn even in the face of death. Ling Xiao's voice was cold, and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Rumble. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron unleashed a terrifying devouring power that caused heaven and earth to tremble as Dharmaraja Azure Dragon and Demon Paragon Grand Sun were sucked into it. "Ling Xiao, if you dare to kill this king, the two heavenly venerables of the War God Temple will not let you off. You will also die a horrible death." Azure Dragon Discipline King was scared out of his wits. His eyes were filled with fear as he roared loudly, threatening Ling Xiao. "Ling Xiao, let me go. I'm willing to submit to you, I'm willing to be your mount. As long as you spare my life, I'll do anything you want me to." The Great Sun Demon Paragon Grand Sun begged for mercy. In the face of death, even titled paragons would throw away their dignity and beg Ling Xiao for mercy. Even if the Great Sun Demon Paragon didn't have many years left to live, he still didn't want to die. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold as he ignored Azure Dragon Discipline King and Great Sun Demon Paragon Grand Sunday. Instead, he used the King Heaven Devourer cauldron to suppress them. As for the other paragons, they were already scared out of their wits. Their eyes were filled with terror. Ling Xiao's battle prowess was too terrifying. Azure Dragon Discipline King and Great Sun Demon Paragon Grand Sun were still no match for him in their true forms. Some of them were even thinking of running away. Star Sovereign, the Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain, and Extermination Scribe exchanged glances. Cold, killing intent flashed in their eyes as they charged toward Long Hanyan and the others. As far as they were concerned, these dragons were Ling Xiao's weakness. As long as they could capture them, Ling Xiao would definitely hold back. Ling Xiao also noticed the actions of Star Sovereign, the Lord of Emperor Tomb Mountain, and Extermination Scribe, and a hint of mockery appeared in his eyes. "Get lost. When Ling Xiao kills Azure Dragon Discipline King and Great Sun Demon Paragon Grand Sun, it will be the time of your deaths. Do you really want to die?" Everyone from the Dragon Tribe was shocked. Although the 6 Supreme Elders had not fully recovered from their injuries, they still stood in front of the crowd and glared coldly at the 3 people in front of them. "Old fogies, you're courting death." Killing intent flashed in Star Sovereign's eyes as he slapped his palm across the sky. The starlight in the sky was dazzling and contained unparalleled divine power. Long Hanyan, Long Patian, and the rest looked a little nervous. The 3 people in front of them were all 9th-level Venerable Realm experts. The 6 Supreme Elders of the Dragon Tribe were no match for them even when they were not seriously injured. How could they stop them at this moment? Buzz. At this moment, a bright light shone down from the void and enveloped everyone from the Dragon Tribe. A white-robed man wrapped in divine light appeared in front of Star Emperor and spat out a word, "Scram." Rumble. It was as if the sky was filled with thunderbolts as the void shook. Star Sovereign's palm print was shattered and he was swept away by an unparalleled force and flew back. "What?" Star Emperor, Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord, and Extermination Scholar were all shocked as they looked at the white-robed man in front of them. The white-robed man looked ethereal and mysterious. His body was shrouded in light and his figure couldn't be seen clearly. However, his eyes were extremely bright and resplendent, containing the power to see through people's hearts. The white-robed man was naturally the Time General. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that the white-robed man could force Star Sovereign to retreat with just a word. "For you." Star Sovereign suppressed the anger in his heart and asked coldly. Not only the three Supreme Elders, but even the people from the Dragon Tribe were surprised. They didn't know why the mysterious white-robed man would help them. Could he be a helper that Ling Xiao had found? When Long Hanyan saw the white-robed man, her eyes moved slightly as she felt a familiar aura. She stared at the white-robed man as if she wanted to see something from him. "You don't deserve to know my name. If you know what's good for you, get lost and wait for Ling Xiao to deal with you. Otherwise, I don't mind sending you to your deaths now," the white-robed man said indifferently. "How arrogant. You're just a 9th-level Supreme Realm expert. Do you really think you're invincible? Brothers, I'll stop him. You go and capture the people from the Dragon Tribe." Star Sovereign's face instantly darkened as killing intent flashed in his eyes. He could see that the white-robed man before him was only a 9th-level Supreme Realm expert. Therefore, he wasn't afraid at all. Chapter 871. Rumble. Star Emperor's body shone brightly as if a galaxy had exploded. His finger was like a sword as sword chi swept across the universe and shot towards the white-robed man's forehead. The Emperor Tomb Mountain Master and Scholar Extermination went around the white-robed man and charged towards the Dragon Tribe. "You're courting death," the white-robed man said indifferently and moved instantly. Rumble. He sent out a palm strike. His fingers were slender and translucent, and his palm print was ethereal. It didn't seem like a palm technique from the mortal world. It instantly enveloped the Star Monarch, the Emperor Tomb Mountain Lord, and the Scholar Extermination. The palm was extremely fast as if it had traveled through time and space. It contained the essence of the passage of time and imprinted itself on the chests of Star Emperor and the other two. There was a crisp sound as Star Emperor and the other two's eyes were filled with terror. They spat out a mouthful of blood as their chests caved in. They were severely injured in an instant. Star Emperor, the Emperor Tomb Mountain Master and Scholar Extermination didn't expect the white-robed man's palm. They could see it but they couldn't block it at all. It contained an unfathomable power that imprinted itself on their bodies almost instantly. "Oh no, this man is too strong." Star Emperor's face changed drastically. He no longer had any fighting spirit. He exchanged glances with the Emperor Tomb Mountain Master and Scholar Extermination before turning around to escape. Ling Xiao was so overpowered and the white-robed man's strength was so terrifying. If they continued to stay, they would definitely die. "Did I say you could leave? Come in," the white-robed man said faintly with a sharp glint in his eyes. Rumble. He reached out his hand and grabbed at the air. A mysterious light flickered and mysterious lines appeared from his palm. They instantly pierced through the void and bound Star Emperor, the master of Emperor Tomb Mountain, and Miexing's scribe like little lambs. He directly pulled them back. Rumble. The three of them fell heavily to the ground and their cultivation bases were sealed by the white-robed man. "What are you doing?" Star Emperor and the other two's eyes were filled with terror as their faces turned pale. Their hearts were filled with sorrow. The white-clothed man in front of them was too strong. In the hands of the white-clothed man, they did not have the slightest ability to resist. "If you don't want to die now, then shut up," the man in white said indifferently. His eyes revealed a trace of cold killing intent. Star Sovereign and the other two turned pale and shut their mouths instantly. "Their cultivations have been sealed by me. Keep an eye on them." The man in white looked at Long Padian and threw the three people in front of him like they were chickens. "Thank you for saving me, Senior. May I know Senior's name?" Long Padian felt flattered. He quickly looked at Star Sovereign and the other two and asked cautiously. "You'll know in the future," the Divine General of Time said faintly as he swept his gaze over the crowd. When he looked at Long Hanyan, he paused for a moment before quickly looking away. Bush, bush, bush. When the remaining paragons saw Star Sovereign and the other two captured, they knew the situation was bad. They wanted to flee, but in the end, the Divine General of Time captured them and sealed their cultivations. Star Sovereign and the others' eyes were filled with despair. Were they really going to die here? Rumble. The Heaven Devourer cauldron shone dazzlingly in the air. A golden vortex of divine light swallowed up the sun-devouring Ba-serpent and the three-legged golden crow. It didn't matter if Dharmaraja Azure Dragon and the great sun demon sovereign threatened or tempted them, Ling Xiao ignored them and focused on refining them. Ling Xiao, you'll die a horrible death. Ling Xiao, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go. Ling Xiao, I beg you, let me go. I'll recognize you as my master. The voices of Dharmaraja Azure Dragon and the great sun demon sovereign rang out from the Heaven Devourer cauldron, but Ling Xiao ignored them. Rumble. The Heaven Devourer cauldron shone with dazzling light, emanating an ancient aura. Mysterious, ancient god symbols filled the cauldron as it devoured the power of Dharmaraja Azure Dragon and the great sun demon sovereign. As of this moment, it was impossible for them to self-detonate even if they wanted to. Heaven and earth trembled, and the Heaven Devourer cauldron thrummed as streams of quintessence power were absorbed into Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao cultivated the war god incantation, and had the power of the war god within him. If he wanted to achieve breakthroughs, he would need a huge amount of resources. But the Sun Devourer Ba-serpent and the three-legged golden crow were godlings from the distant past, and contained boundless blood energy quintessence and nascent divinity power. As Ling Xiao absorbed them, his cultivation base began to advance by leaps and bounds. Rumble. More and more streams of the power of the war god began to form. 1,000 streams. 2,000. 3,000. In the end, Ling Xiao completely absorbed the power of the Sun Devourer Ba-serpent and the three-legged golden crow. At the same time, terrifying rumbling sounds could be heard from within Ling Xiao. 10,000 streams of the power of the war god. Second level of the Supreme Being realm. After devouring and absorbing the power of two titled paragons, Ling Xiao's cultivation base had finally reached the second level of the Supreme Being realm. At the same time, the Dragon Tribe, Star Sovereign, and the others were all shocked. Not only did Ling Xiao kill the Azure Dragon Dharmaraja and the Great Sun Demon Reverend, but after devouring them, his cultivation base had advanced by leaps and bounds. I only managed to raise my cultivation by one level after devouring two titled Supreme Martial Artists. Ling Xiao chuckled bitterly, clearly dissatisfied. He had accumulated far too much power, and the amount of resources required to advance by one level in the Supreme Being realm was equivalent to what others would need to advance from the Meridian Opening realm to the titled Paragons. Especially the power of the War God, which consumed far too much energy. However, the power of the War God was invincible, and his fighting prowess was terrifying. Rumble. Ling Xiao's body flashed with light, and he reverted to his human form. His robes were whiter than snow, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His body radiated a terrifying power that caused the sky to tremble. Star Sovereign and the others looked on in despair. However, Ling Xiao didn't look at them. His gaze was fixed on the distant sky. The sky instantly shattered, and a group of figures with terrifying auras descended. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Just by sensing their auras, Ling Xiao knew that they were from the War God Temple. They had arrived. Taoist Wu Yang, the Old Goat, Yuchong Shan, Maha Long Lai, and Fire Phoenix Supremacy were at the forefront. At the moment, they looked extremely battered. Their bodies were stained with blood, and their auras were chaotic. It was obvious that they had suffered heavy injuries. Behind them was a group of figures with terrifying auras. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. He could sense that there were dozens of Supreme Being experts. Ling Xiao, I'm sorry. We've tried our best, but the two old bastards in black and white robes were too strong. They had refined the divinity and stepped into the half-step divine realm. We were no match for them, and we suffered heavy casualties. Chapter 872. The three demon supremacies of the demon tribe, the Pavilion Master of the Sword God's Pavilion, and the Grand Moon's Supremacy have all died in battle. Ling Xiao, they are here for you. Taoist Wu Yang let out a bitter laugh as well, his eyes revealing a trace of sadness. Ling Xiao was shocked. He had not expected the casualties to be so severe. How long had it been and 5 supremacies had already been killed? In the end, only the 6 of them had managed to escape. Ling Xiao's gaze landed on the group of people behind the old goat and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Don't worry, I am here. Ling Xiao said slowly as his body exuded a domineering aura and majesty. 2 elders led the war god hall. One of them was dressed in a black robe while the other was dressed in a white robe. They stood in the air and exuded a terrifying aura that caused the surrounding space to tremble violently. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could sense a powerful divine path energy and threat from the 2 elders. These 2 must be the left and right holy masters of the war god hall. He had not expected the left and right holy masters to be half-step divine spirits who had refined divine sparks. Behind the left and right holy masters were the 3 titled supremacies, the White Tiger Guardian King, the Black Tortoise Guardian King, and the Vermilion Bird Guardian King, as well as dozens of supremacies with terrifying auras. Apart from that, there was also the successor of the War God Hall. He was dressed in golden armor and had an extraordinary figure. He exuded an extremely powerful aura and was actually a level 3 supremacy. Apart from the people of the War God Hall, there were also Buddhist disciple Kasayapa, Emperor Qing, Duan Wuji, Murong Xiantian, Zhu Biao, Qing Yun, Zhao Ritian, and the others. However, they were obviously here to watch the battle. Ling Xiao, where is my brother, the Green Dragon Guardian King? The White Tiger Guardian King looked extremely burly and was dressed in a black robe. He stared coldly at Ling Xiao and asked, "The Green Dragon Guardian King? He has already gone to hell with the Great Sun Demon's supremacy. Don't worry, you will accompany him very soon." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly as he spoke slowly. What? Ling Xiao's words were like a sudden clap of thunder. Instantly, everyone was shocked and their eyes were filled with disbelief. The Green Dragon Guardian King and the Great Sun Demon's supremacy died at Ling Xiao's hands? How is that possible? That's right. I think Ling Xiao is just spouting nonsense. The Azure Dragon Discipline King and the Great Sun Demon Reverend are both titled Supremes. Although Ling Xiao is demon-like, his cultivation level is only at the 2nd level of the Supreme Being realm. How can he be a match for the 2 of them? Everyone was discussing among themselves, but their eyes were filled with doubt. They did not believe that Ling Xiao had the ability to kill 2 titled Supreme Martial Artists. You want to kill my big brother? Arrogant and conceited brat, you're about to die and you still won't speak honestly? The White Tiger Shakyamuni sneered. Discipline King Black Tortoise and Discipline King Vermilion Bird sneered at the same time. Clearly, they did not believe that Ling Xiao could kill Discipline King Azure Dragon. Lord Sky Sovereign, Lord Dharmaraja, save me. The Azure Dragon Discipline King and the Great Sun Demon Venerable have already been killed by Ling Xiao. You must avenge them. When Star Emperor and the others saw the people from the War God Temple appear, their eyes were filled with excitement as they shouted loudly. However, their shouts confirmed the fact that Ling Xiao had killed 2 titled Supreme Martial Artists. Ling Xiao, he really has the combat strength to kill 2 titled Supreme Martial Artists. How is this possible? Everyone was in an uproar as their eyes were filled with disbelief. Even the successor of the War God Hall had a shocked expression on his face. He thought that with his current cultivation of level 3 Supreme Martial Artist, he would at most be able to come to a draw with Discipline King Azure Dragon. After all, even a 9 extremities genius was not invincible. His combat strength could not be that strong. Ling Xiao he's a 10 extremities genius. The master of Emperor Tomb Mountain shouted. Everyone was stunned. 10 extremities genius? Did I hear it wrongly? He broke the taboo and became a legend. An unprecedented 10 extremities genius? How is this possible? Someone trembled as his eyes were filled with disbelief. 10 extremities genius? The 4 words seemed to have some kind of magical power that caused the successor of the War God Temple, Buddha Kasyapa, Emperor Qing, Zhao Ritian, and the others' faces to change. A 9-extremities genius and a 10-extremities genius were not on the same level. Their combat strength could not be compared. It was a huge gap. The combat strength of a 9-extremities genius could still be measured. However, a 10-extremities genius was a legend and a miracle. No matter how terrifying their combat strength was, it was understandable. This was because a 10-extremities genius represented invincibility. They represented the power of the taboo. 10-extremities genius? Ling Xiao, no wonder you could kill Discipline King Azure Dragon and the Great Sun Demon Honorable. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. Taoist Wu Yang and the old goat were also shocked. Previously, they were still immersed in the news of Ling Xiao killing 2 titled supreme martial artists and were extremely shocked. However, when they heard the words 10-extremities genius, they were instantly relieved. If he was a real 10-extremities genius, not to mention killing a titled supreme martial artist, he could even fight with a deity. Ha! Good, very good. Ling Xiao, you've really surprised me. Long Lai also laughed heartily. His eyes were filled with an incomparably excited expression. Sush! Long Outyin came out of Long Lai's pocket dimension. When he heard the news, he was extremely emotional. He looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of admiration. Cousin, you're too powerful. You killed these bastards from the War God Hall. The Crystal Palace suffered heavy casualties because of these bastards. Long Outyin said excitedly. He then turned around and looked at the people from the War God Hall with hatred in his eyes. Don't worry, they'll all die. Ling Xiao said coldly as killing intent flashed in his eyes. Humph, 10-extremities genius? Ling Xiao is not worthy. A 10-extremities genius is only a legend. What does Ling Xiao do? I think he must have used despicable means to kill Discipline King Azure Dragon and the Great Sun Demon Honorable. Duan Wuji's piercing voice sounded as his eyes were filled with jealousy. That's right. Everyone, don't be fooled by him. Ling Xiao has the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Once we kill Ling Xiao, the inheritance will be ours. Murong Xiantian said with a cold smile. The inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God? Everyone's body trembled, and their eyes revealed a trace of incomparable greed. The Scarlet Dragon War God was a peerless war god from 1,000,000 years ago. If they could obtain his inheritance, they might be able to find the path to becoming a god. To everyone, this was an irresistible temptation. Rumble. The successor of the War God Hall stepped forward and looked at Ling Xiao coldly. He said, Ling Xiao, hand over the Demon Saint's tablet and the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God, and we might spare your life. Otherwise, you will die today. Rumble. Everyone from the War God Hall exuded an extremely cold aura. Their eyes were cold and filled with killing intent as they locked onto Ling Xiao. Everyone's expression turned cold as fear appeared in their hearts. No matter how good the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God was, it could not be obtained without his life. Everyone knew how terrifying the War God Hall was. Naturally, they did not dare to snatch it from the hands of the War God Hall. They retreated as if it was none of their business and watched the battle between Ling Xiao and the War God Hall coldly. This battle was unavoidable. However, everyone thought that Ling Xiao would definitely die. This was because the left and right holy masters of the War God Hall were 2 deities. No matter how strong a human was, how could it compare to a deity? Chapter 873. Demon Overlord Stone Tablet. Are you sure you're not talking about the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet? Also, the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance. The Heavenly Chosen Convention was originally hosted by your War God Temple, yet you've come to me for the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance? Ling Xiao indifferently glanced at the descendant of the War God Temple, his eyes revealing a trace of ridicule. Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet? What's that? Everyone's heart skipped a beat as they were confused. The War God Shrine's successor's face changed as he stared at Ling Xiao. How do you know about the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet? Not only do I know about the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet, I also know that 9 Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablets can open the door to the God world. And your War God Shrine already has 5 Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablets. Ling Xiao laughed coldly as he stared at the War God Shrine's people. What? 9 Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablets can open the door to the God world? Is this for real? Everyone was instantly shaken. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Many of the martial Holy Lands knew that no one had become a god in a million years. Some guessed that it was because the Heaven Dao laws were flawed, and some guessed that something happened in the God world, causing the door to close. Countless people wanted to find the secret to becoming a god, but to no avail. Now that they heard Ling Xiao say that 9 Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablets could open the door to the God world, many people became excited. Legend has it that a million years ago, as long as one reached the 9th level of the Supreme Realm, one could ascend to the God world. But after a million years, the Heaven Dao was flawed and the God world was closed. No one could become a god. If the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet really has such heaven-defying power, it's no wonder the War God Shrine values it so much. An extremely old Supreme Being said with a hint of excitement in his eyes. Becoming a god was the ultimate goal for everyone because being a god represented immortality and endless lifespan. Especially for a Supreme, it was extremely tempting. Ling Xiao, the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet is my War God Shrine's treasure. It's not something that can open the door to the God world. Don't try to confuse us. Also, the Scarlet Dragon Battle God's inheritance was stolen from the Flowing Time Shrine. I advise you not to refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Hand it over. The War God Shrine's successor stared coldly at Ling Xiao. He naturally wouldn't admit that the Heavenly Dao Primal Chaos Tablet could open the door to God world. Otherwise, the entire War God Great World would be in an uproar. No matter how strong the War God Temple was, if the entire War God Great World turned against the War God Temple, the War God Temple would not be able to withstand it. The treasure of your War God Temple. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen people as shameless as you. Let's not talk about the fact that I don't have the Heavenly Dao Primal Chaos Tablet or the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance. Even if I did, who do you think you are? Are you even qualified to order me around? Ling Xiao laughed out loud. His gaze was extremely sharp, and his voice was deep. He exuded a domineering aura. Ling Xiao, don't think that you have the right to be arrogant in front of the War God Temple just because you used despicable means to kill Guardian King Azure Dragon and the Great Sun Demon Supremacy. The two Lord Empyreans are both deity realm powerhouses. Killing you is as simple as crushing an ant. The eyes of the successor of the War God Hall instantly darkened, revealing a cold, killing intent. Kill me? Come at me if you have the ability. What do I, Ling Xiao, fear? Magnificent sect, you don't have to use the tiger's skin as a flag. If you have the ability, come up and fight me. Do you believe that I can kill you like killing a dog? Ling Xiao snickered coldly. He stood in the air like a peerless sword standing under the heavens, radiating a dazzling light. Magnificent Sect was the original name of the successor of the War God Temple. After Ling Xiao devoured and refined Guardian King Azure Dragon, he also knew some secrets of the War God Temple. That's right. Magnificent Sect, come up and fight my cousin if you have the ability. What kind of man are you to be so wishy-washy? If you want the Heavenly Dao Chaotic Tablet and the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance, then let's see if you have the qualifications. Long Outyin chuckled coldly. Ling Xiao looked down on the War God Temple with an extraordinary aura. His heroic spirit soared to the sky, and many people felt a sense of admiration in their hearts. The Moon Goddess and Phoenix Lady were also in the crowd. They looked at Ling Xiao with sparkling eyes. This was the Ling Xiao who looked down on everything, the invincible Ling Xiao who suppressed the ancient times. Ling Xiao, do you think I'm afraid of you? Very well, let's see what qualifications you have to say such arrogant words. The successor of the War God Temple, Magnificent Sect, walked towards Ling Xiao with a murderous look in his eyes. Rumble. Every step he took was like the beating of a heavenly drum, causing the void to rumble. Strands of chaotic mist suffused the air. The golden armor around his body was dazzling, and his dazzling hair fluttered in the wind. His face was like jade, and his body glowed. He was extraordinarily heroic, and he emitted a mysterious and powerful aura. Legend had it that Magnificent Sect had the chaotic sacred body, and he could control all the energy of heaven and earth. He was also a legendary 9-Ju realm genius, and his strength was terrifying to the extreme. Now that he stood out, his aura made many Supreme Being experts tremble. In comparison, Ling Xiao on the other side seemed very ordinary. The eyes of the left and right holy masters, as well as the people of the War God Temple, flashed, but they did not stop him. Magnificent Sect's strength was extraordinary, and he could even fight against a titled Supreme Being. It was a good opportunity for him to test Ling Xiao's true strength. Anyway, with the two holy masters, Magnificent Sect would not be in any danger. On the other hand, Ling Xiao, the legendary 10-Ju realm genius, was unfathomable. Ling Xiao, if you want to fight, then let's fight, Hua Tianzong said coldly. His voice shook the heavens, causing the surrounding space to tremble at the same time. Rumble. He was surrounded by divine light, and the chaotic aura rose. He was like a peerless war god, and no one dared to look at him directly. In Magnificent Sect's opinion, he was at the 3rd level Supreme Being realm, which was 1 level higher than Ling Xiao. With his various means, even if he could not kill Ling Xiao, he could still fight him. As the number 1 on the Azure Sky ranking, the successor of the War God Temple, and the number 1 genius of the War God continent, Magnificent Sect had his own pride. This successor of the Battle God Hall is indeed extremely powerful. If Ling Xiao really used other means to kill the Azure Dragon Discipline King and the Great Sun Demon Sovereign, I'm afraid his true strength is not as good as the successor of the War God Temple. That's right. How can there be so many 10-Ju realm geniuses? The successor of the War God Temple is only a 9-Ju realm genius. What qualifications does Ling Xiao have? I think those people are just flattering him. I think Ling Xiao can last 100 moves against the successor of the War God Temple. 100 moves? You think too highly of him. I think he can last 10 moves at most. Chapter 874. Hua Tianzong, if you can take 3 of my moves, I'll spare your life. Ling Xiao glanced at Hua Tianzong and said, 3 moves? Pa. Good, very good. I'd like to see what makes you so arrogant. Hua Tianzong was so angry that he laughed. His eyes were filled with coldness. Hua Tianzong didn't expect Ling Xiao to look down on him. Did he think Ling Xiao could defeat him in 3 moves? Did Ling Xiao think he was a god? Defeat Hua Tianzong in 3 moves? Ling Xiao is too careless. Someone sighed and shook his head. That's right. I thought Ling Xiao was no weaker than Hua Tianzong. I didn't expect him to be so arrogant. With Hua Tianzong's current strength, he can fight a titled battle pet warrior. I'm afraid Ling Xiao can only tie with him. Ling Xiao is too arrogant. Even if he's a genius with 10 ultimates, he can't defeat Hua Tianzong in 3 moves. Everyone was talking about it. Apparently, they all thought Ling Xiao was too arrogant. Rumble. Hua Tianzong's body was surrounded by dazzling light. Streaks of chaotic lightning spread out. The surrounding space was shattered and turbulence raged. It was as if a new world had appeared in front of everyone. Hua Tianzong's eyes shone brightly. In an instant, he threw a palm toward Ling Xiao. Boom! The palm print was ancient and mysterious. It was flowing with chaotic runes. It was like the hand of an ancient demon. It was vast and boundless. It covered the sky as if it was going to break the chaos and create a new world. Ling Xiao, have a taste of my chaotic heaven opening palm. The first move, chaotic heaven opening. Hua Tianzong roared, and his palm instantly pressed down towards Yi Qingyu. It's the chaotic heaven opening palm? Legend has it that this is a peerless skill of the War God Shrine. It contains terrifying power. It was created by a divine king with the chaotic sacred body. I didn't expect Hua Tianzong to have mastered it. Ling Xiao is in danger. This palm print has the power to injure or even kill a titled battle pet warrior. Someone exclaimed. Apparently, he recognized the origin of the chaotic heaven opening palm. Ling Xiao's eyes were still calm. Seeing the palm pressing down on Ling Xiao said indifferently, "Too weak."
What?
A terrifying dragon roar exploded between heaven and earth. Ling Xiao also sent a palm flying through the air. His entire body was filled with blood qi. The huge palm was like an immemorial divine mountain, spewing out countless resplendent runes. Tens of thousands of true dragons swept across the sky and instantly fused together, turning into a 7-colored divine dragon that emitted a ferocious aura. 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique. Myriad Tao true dragon? I didn't expect Cousin's 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique to be cultivated to such a level. Long Outyin exclaimed in shock. Long Outyin had also cultivated the 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique, so he naturally knew how terrifying it was. Even Long Outyin had only condensed 81 true dragons. 10,000 dragons could really kill titled battle pet warriors. Rumble. The two palms met and instantly collided in the sky. The void shattered like a mirror, and the void turbulence filled the air. The divine rainbow dragon actually shattered Hua Tianzong's palm in an instant, swept away the endless primal chaos fog, and then suddenly slammed into Hua Tianzong's chest. Crack crack. On Hua Tianzong's body, the golden armor on his body shone brightly as countless runes exploded. This was a powerful defensive armor. Although it blocked most of the impact, Hua Tianzong was still blown away by Ling Xiao's palm. His blood was in turmoil. How is this possible? Hua Tianzong's eyes were filled with disbelief. His primal chaos heaven-splitting palm was shattered by Ling Xiao as if it was a piece of rotten wood. Hua Tianzong, take this. Judgment. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up as he threw a punch toward Hua Tianzong. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled. Ling Xiao's body was surrounded by a dazzling golden glow. He was like an invincible god. His fist was unparalleled, containing the power to pierce through everything. It was as if the God of Heaven was judging all living beings and purifying the world with his supreme divine power. Judgment Fist. This was the supreme fist skill of the Ares art. Ling Xiao used the Ares art's power to activate it, and it had the power to destroy everything. Die. Feeling the terrifying threat, Hua Tianzong went completely crazy. His body was surrounded by a chaotic aura, and a huge black axe appeared in his hand. It contained an ancient and vast power, and he swung it toward Ling Xiao. It was a divine weapon, the sky-splitting axe. Facing the threat of Ling Xiao's fist, Hua Tianzong was forced to use his sky-splitting axe in the second move. He knew that if he didn't use his sky-splitting axe, he would be completely obliterated by Ling Xiao's fist. It was as if the primordial fiend god was splitting heaven and earth, and as if the peerless god of war was splitting the galaxy. As the sky-splitting axe swung through the air, the void was shattered. A black torrent rushed toward Ling Xiao's judgment fist. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled. Ling Xiao faced the sky-splitting axe, and he did not dodge at all. Instead, he threw a punch at the sky-splitting axe. That unparalleled divine power exploded. The judgment fist was activated by the Ares art's power, and it instantly pierced through the power of the sky-splitting axe. Boom! Hua Tianzong's expression changed. He felt as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain. The earth-shattering power instantly shattered his arms, and the sky-splitting axe flew out of his hands. The third move, Heavenly Punishment. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with killing intent. He pointed his finger at Hua Tianzong. Like a black lightning bolt, it instantly pierced through the void and headed toward Hua Tianzong's forehead. Ling Xiao wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to kill Magnificent Zong once and for all. No! Hua Tianzong roared. He felt a fatal threat from Ling Xiao's finger. It made his primordial spirit tremble, as if he would be killed in the next moment. Boom! Hua Tianzong crazily activated all the divine power in his body and poured it into the golden armor on his body. It was a damaged supreme divine weapon, but it contained a strong defensive power. In an instant, a golden light shield rose and covered Hua Tianzong. How dare you! A cold voice sounded in the void. The black-robed left reverend's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he slammed his palm toward Ling Xiao. Even the people of the Ares temple did not expect Ling Xiao's attack to be so terrifying and ruthless. In just 3 moves, he had already forced Hua Tianzong into a desperate situation. Ling Xiao, if you dare to touch a single hair of Hua Tianzong, you will die without a burial place. The white tiger Shakyamuni, the vermilion bird Shakyamuni, and the black tortoise Shakyamuni also leaped into the sky in an instant. Their speed was extremely fast, and they displayed an incomparably powerful strength as they charged towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold, as if he did not care about the threat of the Ares temple at all. His finger was dazzling, as if it was the judgment of the gods, eternal to the extreme. Bang! The light shield that Hua Tianzong was trying his best to activate was like a bubble, instantly bursting apart. Ling Xiao's finger instantly pierced through Hua Tianzong's forehead. Puff! Chapter 875. Hua Tianzong's forehead was pierced by Ling Xiao's finger. Blood flowed out and he looked extremely miserable. Ling Xiao's finger contained the indestructible force of the divine god of battle. As it was about to penetrate Hua Tianzong's divine sense and destroy his primordial spirit, a mysterious chime could be heard. Clang! The bell was ancient and mysterious. In Hua Tianzong's mind, there was an ancient and mysterious bell. It flowed with chaotic colors and countless runes. It instantly blocked Ling Xiao's finger. Hua Tianzong suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body was sent flying several hundred feet away. He fell into the crowd of the war god shrine, and his eyes were filled with incomparable fear. Although he was instantly seriously injured, he still managed to keep his life. What a pity! Ling Xiao felt that it was a pity. He could feel that the chaotic bell between Hua Tianzong's eyebrows should be a powerful treasure. It could withstand Ling Xiao's finger without being damaged. It must be a supreme artifact. Hua Tianzong was indeed the successor of the god of war shrine. He had countless treasures on him. Rumble! At this moment, the left reverend's palm and the 3 guardian kings arrived. Ling Xiao's body flashed. It was as if he had pierced through the void and teleported away. The void shattered and chaotic currents surged. A terrifying aura spread out, emitting a power that made everyone tremble in fear. In the void, the left reverend in a black robe was surprised. Although he had only casually thrown out a palm, even a titled supreme being would not be able to dodge it. He did not expect Ling Xiao to dodge it so easily. Master's Uncle Zhua, please kill Ling Xiao. Hua Tianzong's face was pale and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. To him, this was simply a great humiliation. Hua Tianzong originally thought that even if Ling Xiao's combat strength was extraordinary, he could at least fight to a draw with Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao only used 1 palm, 1 fist, and 1 finger to injure him and almost kill him. Only Ling Xiao's blood could wash away this humiliation. Tianzong, don't be discouraged. Your chaotic sacred body has not fully awakened. Once it is fully awakened, you will not lose to him. Moreover, Ling Xiao has obtained the god of war art and cultivated the god of war force. It is understandable that you are not his match. The left reverend said slowly with a sharp glint in his eyes. What? God of war art? Hua Tianzong's body trembled. His eyes were filled with disbelief, and a trace of deep jealousy appeared in his eyes. The Ares secret art was the Scarlet Dragon war god's most powerful secret art. It contained an incomparably terrifying power. In the current war god temple, only the master of the magnificent sect, the war god, was qualified to cultivate the Ares secret art. He Tianzong had god of war god art. But he did not expect Ling Xiao had obtained the god of war. Ling Xiao, you're only at the 2nd rank of the supreme realm, but you already have the battle prowess to kill a titled supreme. You're indeed a monster. Even if you're not one of the legendary 10 Ultimates geniuses, you're not far from it. I will give you a chance. As long as you hand over the Heavenly Tao Chaotic Tablet and the God of War Inheritance and join the War Shrine, I will spare your life. You will be the successor of the War Shrine and be on par with Hua Tianzong. How about it? The left reverend looked at Ling Xiao and said, The successor of the War Shrine? Everyone gasped when they heard the left reverend's words. Their eyes were filled with jealousy. The War God Temple could be said to be the most powerful force in the War God continent. They had more than one divinity realm expert. If Ling Xiao were to join the War God Temple, he would reach the heavens in a single step. His status would be even higher than the sect masters of the martial Holy Lands. But would Ling Xiao agree? Ling Xiao looked at the left reverend and said with a smile, "Thank you, Reverend. First, it doesn't matter if I have the Heavenly Tao Chaotic Tablet and the God of War inheritance. How I deal with them is my own business. Second, I'm used to being free. I don't want to join the War Shrine. So, I can only disappoint you. Third, I'm a simple person. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll pay them back 100 times. If the War Shrine is determined to deal with me, I swear that I'll destroy the War Shrine in my life. Not even a chicken or a dog will be left." Although Ling Xiao was smiling, his voice was resolute and resolute. In particular, his last sentence was filled with a monstrous baleful aura, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. Ling Xiao actually rejected it? Everyone was stunned. Could it be that Ling Xiao really believed that he could contend against the entire War God Temple by himself? One had to know that the two reverends were both godly spirit realm experts. Their strength was monstrous and could kill everything. They were unrivaled. Zhao Ritian also looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. His gaze was complicated. "Second Master, do you think we should save Ling Xiao? The people of the War Shrine are too shameless. I can't stand it anymore." Zhao Ritian said in his heart, "Ritian, are you out of your mind? Have you forgotten what we said? As long as Ling Xiao dies, I'll use a secret technique to help you obtain the textless heavenly book and the legacy of the Scarlet Dragon of War. You want to save him? What are you thinking?" The second master was speechless. "I just feel that it's too easy for Ling Xiao to die just like that. Even if he dies, he should die in my hands." Zhao Ritian said stubbornly, "My little ancestor, don't give me any trouble. Not to mention that we're enemies with Ling Xiao and we shouldn't save him. Even if we really want to save him, we don't have the ability to do so. Those two old fogies in black and white are both half-step to godly spirits who have refined the divinity. Even if there were 100 of you, you wouldn't be their match." The second master said helplessly. "All right." Zhao Ritian let out a bitter laugh and shook his head. In the sky, the left reverend looked at Ling Xiao and said, "That's a pity. However, the Heavenly Path Chaotic Tablet and the legacy of the Scarlet Dragon of War are the treasures of the War Shrine. They can't fall into the hands of outsiders. Since that's the case, I'll have to kill you personally." The left reverend's words were casual, but everyone could hear the burning, killing intent in them. They couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. The War Shrine was never the legacy of the Scarlet Dragon of War. You're just a bunch of thieves who stole part of the legacy of the Scarlet Dragon of War. If you want to kill me, just do it. Why do you have to be so hypocritical? I'd like to see how strong the two reverends of the War Shrine are." Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight as he said slowly. Ling Xiao walked to the old goat's side and the heavenly god stone turned into a speck of dust and landed on the old goat's body. At the same time, Ling Xiao's voice entered the old goat's mind. "Old goat, I'll leave the heavenly god stone in your care for now. If anything happens to me in this battle, I'll have to trouble you to take care of the Changsun sect and the dragon tribe." Chapter 876. What? The old goat immediately became agitated. He hurriedly transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. "Ling Xiao, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. These two old farts are half-step gods who have refined godhoods. They are extremely powerful. Even if you aren't their match now, you'll be able to kill them in a few more years. It'll be as easy as killing dogs for you. We can just run away." Ling Xiao replied telepathically, "There are two half-step deities here. Do you think we can escape? Don't worry, I am confident that I can fight them even if they are demigods. I am only giving you the divine stone as a precaution. Don't worry. Ling Xiao, let's fight it out with them. I will detonate the Devil Saint's scepter. At most, we will fight to the death," the old goat said anxiously with cold, killing intent in his eyes. Don't let your emotions get the better of you. Don't worry, I won't die before I find Jin Sei. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He glanced at the old goat, then turned and walked into the void. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled. Ling Xiao exuded a vast and mysterious dragon aura. His eyes were sharp as he stared at the left sovereign. He was extremely calm and a strong battle intent was brewing in him. Ling Xiao already had the combat strength to kill titled supremes. However, he wanted to see how strong he was when facing a demigod. A real demigod had to have both his physical body and primordial spirit become a demigod and merge with the divine energy in his body to form a godhood. If a supremes refined the godhood left behind by a demigod, their primordial spirit would be immortal and they would become a demigod. However, their physical body would remain mortal and would not be tempered by the laws of the divinity. Therefore, they could only be considered demigods. The left and right sovereign were demigods who had merged their primordial spirits with godhoods. However, their physical bodies were still mortal. Although they were only demigods, they were much stronger than titled supremes. Ling Xiao, you may have extraordinary combat strength and can kill titled supremes. However, you will never know how strong a demigod is. In my eyes, even titled supremes can be killed easily. Therefore you stand no chance. As long as you agree to my conditions, my words will still stand. The left reverend glanced at Ling Xiao and sighed. Who said that the human Tao cannot defeat the divine Tao? It said that Senior Duguchiobai once killed a half-god when he was at utmost exalted realm. I'd like to give it a try too. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The desire to battle in his eyes was at its peak. Duguchiobai? When Duguchiobai killed the demigod, he was already a titled supreme. Besides, do you really think you can compare to Duguchiobai? Since you're so reckless, it seems like I have no choice but to kill a genius with my own hands today. The left reverend smiled faintly as a cold glint appeared in his eyes. No need to say more. Let's fight. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he charged towards the left reverend. Rumble. The sky trembled as Ling Xiao exuded a powerful dragon's might. He directly activated his true dragon body and used the 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique. He slammed his palm across the sky and immediately 7-colored divine dragons gathered. They were dazzling as they coiled around Ling Xiao's palm and pressed down on the left reverend. 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique? It's a pity that you haven't mastered it yet. The left reverend smiled faintly as he threw out a simple punch. Crack. Space rumbled explosively while the heavens and the earth trembled. Strands of divine Tao laws converged together, and they contained an aura capable of shattering everything. That fist moved unparalleled, and it emanated an extremely oppressive aura that caused everyone to feel slightly suffocated. Boom! The world shook violently. The 7-colored dragon was ferocious. The huge palm collided with the left reverend's fist. Immediately, a blazing storm of divine light swept out like a level 12 hurricane, blotting out the sky and covering the sun. Ling Xiao's body trembled as he instantly retreated. The left reverend's arm also trembled as he took a few steps back. Is this the power of a demigod? It's indeed powerful. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Although it seemed like he was on par with the left reverend, Ling Xiao knew that he was still at a disadvantage. The left reverend's punch was a shocking punch that used the power of the primordial spirit to mobilize the power of the laws of heaven and earth and gather it on the fist print. Even if it was just a casual blow, it had the power to severely injure a titled supreme. Your physical strength is so terrifying. It seems like it's not weaker than the legendary divine beast's body. However, with this strength, you have no chance. The left reverend was slightly surprised as he did not expect Ling Xiao to be able to force him back with a single punch. Take this, chaos sky splitting. The left reverend said indifferently as he threw out a palm strike toward Ling Xiao. Rumble. As if heaven and earth had been turned upside down, the palm print traversed the void and was surrounded by endless chaotic mist. It was eternally dazzling and radiant, giving people an unstoppable feeling. It was also the first move of the chaos sky-splitting palm, but in the hands of the left reverend, it had a magical power that was far superior to magnificent sex. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with a monstrous battle intent. The more he felt threatened by the left reverend, the stronger his battle intent became. The blood in his body seemed to be boiling. The wisps of war god's power flowed through his body, causing him to emit an incomparably terrifying aura. Adjudication! Ling Zhao shouted coldly as he threw out a punch toward the left reverend. The adjudication divine fist of the Ares art contained the mysterious power of adjudication. Only the Ares art could activate it. The fist mark appeared in the sky, intertwining with Tao and truth, containing a majestic righteous energy. Boom! The heaven and earth shook as the fist and palm collided. Instantly, the void shattered as boundless divine light swept out in all directions. Ling Zhao's adjudication divine fist was shattered by the left reverend's palm. The huge palm print traversed the sky as Ling Zhao threw out both of his fists. Blood chi surged around him. Bang! He was instantly sent flying a few hundred feet away before he could stabilize himself in the void. On the other hand, the left reverend only swayed slightly. He was still standing at the top of the sky like an ancient martial arts, celestial, majestic, and mysterious. Adjudication divine fist? It's indeed powerful. Unfortunately, your cultivation is still too weak. The left reverend said indifferently as he threw out another palm strike toward Ling Zhao. Die! Ling Zhao's eyes were extremely sharp and contained a monstrous battle intent. He threw out a punch, and the heavenly punishment divine fist carried the divine war energy as it charged toward the left reverend. Ling Zhao circulated the divine war energy to the maximum. The adjudication divine fist in his left hand and the heavenly punishment divine fist in his right hand attacked at the same time. It was extremely terrifying. Rumble! An intense battle erupted between Ling Zhao and the left reverend. Chapter 877. Ling Zhao should be proud to be able to fight against the left sovereign. However, judging from the situation, I'm afraid Ling Zhao won't be able to hold on for much longer. That's right. I didn't expect Ling Zhao to be so powerful. He might have broken the taboo and become one of the legendary 10 Ultimates geniuses. Everyone exclaimed in shock. In the face of the left reverend's terrifying divine Tao prestige, even Supreme Being experts would tremble with fear. If an ordinary Supreme Being were to fight with the left reverend, they would have been killed by the left reverend. Old Goat, although Ling Zhao is powerful, I'm afraid he's no match for the left sovereign. Taoist Wu Yang walked to the side of the old goat with a worried look in his eyes. That's right. Ling Zhao's cultivation is still too weak. If he could break through to the titled honorable realm, killing the left sovereign would be as easy as killing a dog. Unfortunately, the war god temple is too shameless. The old goat's eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. Previously, the old goat had led the experts of the 3 major tribes to meet up with Long Lai and Fire Phoenix Sovereign. They wanted to stall the war god temple for a while to create an opportunity for Ling Zhao. However, the left and right sovereign were too terrifying. The 3 honorables of the demon tribe were all killed in the battle. If the old goat had not used the Devil Saint's scepter to cast a forbidden technique to stop the left and right sovereign, the casualties would have been even greater. Fortunately, the war god temple was in a hurry to kill Ling Zhao. Otherwise, they might have been wiped out. The old goat knew how terrifying and powerful a half-step godly realm expert was. If Ling Zhao can't win, I'll stop those 2 old bastards even if I have to risk the destruction of the Devil Saint's scepter. The old goat's eyes were filled with determination. The Devil Saint's scepter was a flawless divine artifact. It was a treasure left to him by the Devil Saint. It was also the sacred artifact of the demon tribe. It contained unfathomable power. If the old goat destroyed the divine artifact, he might be able to severely injure the half-step godly realm expert. War god temple, you destroyed my crystal palace, killed my tribesmen, and injured my nephew. I swear that I won't rest until I destroy the war god temple. Long Lai's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent as he stared at the people from the war god temple in the sky. Everyone from the dragon race was very nervous. Although they didn't think that Ling Zhao had the chance to defeat the left reverend, they still had a glimmer of hope in their hearts. What if a miracle happened? Rumble. Ling Zhao's battle intent soared as he circulated his true dragon body and god of war art to the maximum. He used the Judgment Divine Fist and Heavenly Punishment Divine Fist to fight the Left Reverend. The sky shattered, and chaotic currents surged. Ling Zhao and the Left Reverend were like gods and demons fighting in the chaos, unleashing terrifying auras. The entire sea of reincarnation began to boil. Huge waves surged into the sky as the chaotic power of reincarnation permeated the air. Normally, everyone would be worried about the reincarnation storm and the strange and powerful reincarnation beast in the reincarnation sea. However, at this moment, everyone was staring at the battle in the sky with different thoughts. Rumble. The Left Reverend slammed his palm across the sky, shattering Ling Zhao's fist imprint. He wanted to kill Ling Zhao. However, Ling Zhao was surrounded by a golden glow. A three-legged, two-eared cauldron appeared in the air, ancient and mysterious. When the palm hit the King Heaven Devourer cauldron, the cauldron trembled, and dazzling magical symbols sprang up as it devoured the incoming attack. Die! Ling Zhao shouted, his eyes flashing with killing intent as he drew on all of the god power he had built up in the King Heaven Devourer cauldron. Ling Zhao unleashed a fist strike, combining the power of his fleshly body with the power of the war god. Instantly, he met the Left Reverend's attack head-on, causing both of them to shiver and fall back. Ruyumble. In the blink of an eye, Ling Zhao and the Left Reverend had exchanged over 100 blows. By this point, Ling Zhao was getting a better understanding of the Left Reverend's battle prowess. Although the Left Reverend's fleshly body was only that of a paragon, it had been tempered by god power, making him far stronger than ordinary titled paragons. Of course, the Left Reverend had his nascent divinity, which had been fused with the godhood of a god spirit. It was almost like godhood, and could draw on the magical laws of the Tao of Heaven to unleash unparalleled attacks. Although the Left Reverend was stronger than Ling Zhao, there were limits to how strong he could be. Ling Zhao used his true dragon body, myriad dragons god-slaughtering art, war god incantation, and heaven-devouring secret magic. And yet, he was only barely able to fight to a draw with the Left Reverend. Furthermore, Ling Zhao could see that the Left Reverend's forehead was glowing like a sun, as though he were preparing to unleash some sort of attack. Rumble. Ling Zhao and the Left Reverend clashed again, and godlight swirled out in all heaven and earth, radiating a terrifying aura. A very serious expression could be seen on the Left Reverend's face as he realized that this young man in front of him was no weaker than him in terms of battle prowess. Furthermore, he had all sorts of heaven-defying techniques at his disposal. If Ling Zhao could break through a few more minor levels, he might actually be able to slaughter gods. There was no way he could be allowed to live. The Left Reverend's eyes flickered with intense killing intent. Prepare to die, Ling Zhao. The Left Reverend said, his eyes cold. Dazzling light erupted from his hand, which transformed into a black claw that slashed toward Ling Zhao's head. This claw was terrifying to the extreme. Even an immemorial divine mountain would be crushed into pieces by it. Rumble. Ling Zhao clenched the invincible fist seal, and his body shone with a dazzling light. Golden runes intertwined, and in an instant, they turned into streaks of dazzling lightning that shot towards the Left Holy Master. Each and every bolt of lightning was as terrifying as tribulation lightning and as thick as a mountain range. The Left Reverend's arms shook and turned into two black wings. They were like two peerless swords as they sliced through the lightning in the sky and slashed towards Ling Zhao. The black divine wings slashed down, and the sky was filled with sword chi. Ling Zhao felt as if his body was about to be torn apart. He didn't dare to be careless. He instantly used the secret teleportation technique and moved a few thousand feet horizontally. Only then did he manage to dodge the two black wings. The Left Reverend was like a shadow, moving with incredible speed. In the blink of an eye, he was right behind Ling Zhao, where he thrust his palms out like two terrifying saber beams that threatened to cut Ling Zhao in half. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron unleashed a devouring power that devoured the Left Reverend's saber beams. The Left Reverend is strong, and the Right Reverend isn't much weaker. If the two of them attack me together, I'll definitely lose. I have to deal with the left reverend first. That's the only way I'll have a chance. Ling Xiao's eyes glittered as he made up his mind. Rumble. Ling Xiao was surrounded by a mysterious aura. The space between his eyebrows was as dazzling as a divine lamp. The illusory power of destiny gathered, and in an instant, the light became extremely resplendent. It turned into a blazing rainbow that pierced through space and shot towards the left reverend. Fate shatter. In just an instant, Ling Xiao used his birth chart power to unleash the first form of the life-reversing technique. Chapter 878. The fate-reversing technique was the strangest of the 3 divine techniques of the Scarlet Dragon War God. It was vaguely related to the secret technique of fate that Ling Xiao had obtained from the wordless heavenly book, but they weren't exactly the same. The secret technique of fate followed the will of the heavens. It used one's own fate energy to communicate with the river of fate and comprehend the will of the heavens to control the fate of all living beings. On the other hand, the fate-reversing technique was a killing technique. It would kill one's enemy at the cost of 800 of one's own. It used one's own fate energy to condense supreme killing intent and unleash a terrifying force. Just like the first move, Ling Xiao used his own fate energy to unleash a terrifying attack that went straight for the left reverend's fate. This kind of power that directly attacked one's birth chart was extremely strange and difficult to resist. What? The left reverend's face changed drastically. He couldn't sense what kind of power the divine rainbow that shot out from Ling Xiao's forehead was, but it made him feel a sense of fatal danger. Rumble. The left reverend's body glowed brightly. He channeled his unparalleled divine force, and his primordial spirit flickered with resplendent light. It was as if a dazzling crystal was rising in an attempt to stop the rainbow. The divine rainbow silently shot into the left reverend's forehead, setting off monstrous waves in his sea of consciousness. However, the crystal between the left reverend's eyebrows contained vast and terrifying divine energy. It was like a stabilizing needle that suppressed the surroundings. It actually blocked most of the power of the fate-reversing technique. Only a trace of it landed on the left reverend's illusory fate. The left reverend felt as if he had been struck by lightning. It was as if he had been struck by hundreds of millions of lightning tribulations. He began to tremble and spit out a mouthful of blood. What kind of power is this? The left reverend's face changed drastically as he looked at Ling Xiao with fear in his eyes. Life burning. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a hint of madness as he roared and continued to attack the left reverend. Ling Xiao knew that the resplendent crystal between the left reverend's eyebrows was the godhead of the left reverend. If it weren't for the godhead, the left reverend would have been severely injured, if not killed. However, Ling Xiao knew that he had to kill the left reverend as soon as possible. Rumble. Ling Xiao's body was surrounded by a blazing light. His blood qi was overflowing. A crimson flame rose and enveloped Ling Xiao in an instant. A mysterious power of law descended, and the life source in Ling Xiao's body began to burn wildly. In an instant, 5,000 years of lifespan was burned away. Ling Xiao's black hair instantly turned white. His entire body began to exude an incomparably old aura, but his eyes were incomparably bright. Boom! Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast as he pointed a finger at the glabella of the left sovereign. Monstrous killing intent gathered and a blood-red flame spread rapidly. It was as though he wanted to kill the left sovereign. That was the flame of life, burning one's fate. It was extremely terrifying. After Ling Xiao became a supreme, he only had 10,000 years of lifespan left. However, in order to kill the left reverend, he had burned 5,000 years of his lifespan. This power was earth-shattering. The left reverend actually felt the threat of death. Ling Xiao, I'm going to kill you. Boundless chaotic essence, sword annihilation, de Zhou Tian divine sword, /. The left reverend roared as well. Terrifying divine light surged around him. Traces of divine light gushed out and turned into a dazzling chaotic mist. Suddenly, heaven and earth trembled. Within the endless chaos, a huge sword radiance was formed. It was extremely dazzling as it cut across the sky and slashed towards Ling Xiao. Everyone was baffled, and their eyes were filled with doubt. They didn't even know how Ling Xiao had attacked. He had actually injured the left reverend and even used the Dezhou Tian Divine Sword. The Dezhou Tian Divine Sword was also a supreme technique of the War God Hall. The Dezhou Tian Divine Sword was formed by the chaotic energy. It was invincible and could destroy everything. The right heavenly master, who was in a white robe, was also shocked. The Dezhou Tian Divine Sword was the supreme technique of the left reverend. Ling Xiao had actually forced the Dezhou Tian Divine Sword out. It was evident that Ling Xiao's finger was so terrifying that the left reverend felt a fatal threat. This guy has obtained the inheritance of the war god Scarlet Dragon. His means are strange. I have to kill him quickly. I can't allow him to develop any further. The right reverend thought to himself as a cold, killing intent flashed in his eyes. Swoosh! He took a step forward and the void shook. He was ready to attack Ling Xiao. Right Holy Master, the left Holy Master's battle with Ling Xiao is already considered bullying. Could it be that you are shameless enough to launch a sneak attack? A faint voice resounded. The Divine General of Time in a flash appeared before the right reverend. Divine General of Time? You dare to go against your superior? The right reverend's eyes flashed and his face turned gloomy. I don't think I'm going against my superior, do I? You gave me the title of Divine General of Time, but I never acknowledged it. I advise you not to make a move. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to face your boundless god-slaying saber. The Divine General of Time said coolly. How dare you? You're a measly 9th-level paragon. You're like an ant. How dare you talk to me like that? If it weren't for the exalted war god, you'd already be dead. Since that's the case, I'm going to clean house today. The right reverend laughed in anger, his eyes flickering with cold, killing intent as he locked onto the Divine General of Time. Ryumble. A terrifying aura erupted between the Divine General of Time and the right reverend, as if a battle were about to break out at any moment. Rumble. Off in the distance, Ling Xiao was wearing white robes and had white hair. His face was ancient, but his eyes shone with boundless killing intent as the King Heaven Devourer cauldron appeared above his head. Instead of dodging to the side, Ling Xiao used the King Heaven Devourer cauldron to meet the left reverend's Dezhou Tian sword. As the terrifying sword light slashed down, the King Heaven Devourer cauldron shone with dazzling light, transforming into a terrifying vortex of devouring that exploded. Streaks of blazing light swept across the sky. Ling Xiao's body glowed with golden light. The Aries set appeared, and black runes appeared, shattering all the sword light. The power of the Dezhou Tian sword was so terrifying that even with the protection of the King Heaven Devourer cauldron and the War God armor, Ling Xiao was still injured by the sword energy, causing his 5 viscera and 6 bowels to tremble. However, after taking on the left reverend's Dezhou Tian sword, Ling Xiao's finger was right in front of him. The crimson-red flame locked onto the left reverend and instantly enveloped him. In an instant, a sea of fire rose and the heavens and earth trembled. Chapter 879. Everyone was stunned. They could vaguely feel that the scarlet flames had a fluctuation that could make one's soul tremble. However, the left Holy Master's physical body was unharmed and his aura was still very powerful. However, the miserable howl made everyone's hair stand on end. Time General, get out of my way. The right Holy Master's eyes were filled with rage as he sent a palm strike at the Divine General of Time. Right Reverend, let them settle this battle among themselves. Your opponent is me. The Time General's eyes glinted coldly as he threw a palm strike at the right Holy Master as well. Bang! The two palms collided and the void trembled. The Time General trembled and took a few steps back. However, he still stood in front of the right Holy Master. Time General, you're courting death. The right Holy Master's eyes were filled with murderous intent as a violent aura emanated from his body. A terrifying black gold saber appeared in his hand as he slashed at the Time General. Rumble! The void instantly shattered as the right Holy Master's saber slashed across the sky. It contained a majestic and vast power that seemed to be able to split everything apart and destroy the galaxy. It was unstoppable. Clang. The Time General looked solemn as a flawless white jade ancient sword appeared in his hand. It flowed with a mysterious light as it slashed at the right Holy Master. The sword radiance was unparalleled. When it struck the black gold saber, it immediately bent. The Divine General of Time took advantage of the unparalleled distance and instantly soared into the air. He used the art of becoming one with his sword and charged down at the right Holy Master. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled as a divine light storm swept out in all directions. It was extremely terrifying. What? Why is the Time General fighting with the right Holy Master? Someone exclaimed, his eyes filled with disbelief. Could the Time General have betrayed the War God Hall? That's possible. No wonder Ling Xiao was able to obtain the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God. It turns out that the Time General is a traitor. Everyone's eyes revealed a look of understanding as they discussed animatedly. Who is this Divine General of Time? Why would he help Ling Xiao? Buddha Kasyapa, Emperor Qing, Zhao Ritian, and the others were very surprised. They thought Time General was from War God Hall, but they did not expect Time General to turn around and attack them. Rumble. The left reverend struggled in the void as he screamed in agony. His face was filled with malevolence and madness. The godhead that was as bright as a crystal flew out from between his eyebrows. It emitted a terrifying aura that instantly enveloped the left reverend. The left reverend showed a pained expression. He roared and his godhead shone brightly. Divine energy flowed like water and wrapped around him in an instant, isolating him from the scarlet flames. The left reverend could already sense that his life origin was about to dry up under the burning of the scarlet flames. His soul was rapidly weakening, like a candle in the wind, about to run out of oil in an instant. This change scared the left reverend out of his wits. Hence, he did not hesitate to use the vast divine energy in his godhead to extinguish the scarlet flames. However, the left reverend was also severely injured. He looked at Ling Xiao with anger and killing intent. Ling Xiao, I'll kill you! The left reverend roared. He had just activated his godhead's power and consumed a large amount of his god force. If he wanted to make up for it, even a few hundred years wouldn't be enough. His hatred for Ling Xiao had reached the peak, and his heart was filled with killing intent. Moreover, the left reverend could tell that Ling Xiao must have paid a great price to use those two attacks. He could not use them casually. Rumble. Chaotic chi permeated the air as streaks of sharp sword chi gathered, turning into streaks of scorching sword light. They were densely packed and shrouded the entire sky. The Zhou Tian Divine Sword Formation, annihilate. The left reverend pointed at Ling Xiao and roared. Suddenly, sword rays filled the sky and fell on Ling Xiao. It was terrifying to the extreme. Shattering your fate and burning your lifespan can't kill you? A half-god level expert really is terrifying. But I've already weakened you by 90%. Today I, Ling Xiao, will slaughter a god. Ling Xiao sighed softly, a trace of regret in his eyes. The fate-reversing art was so bizarre that any ordinary titled paragon would have had his fate shattered and his lifespan ended. However, the left reverend's godhead was filled with boundless power, and had blocked the first two attacks of the fate-reversing art. Although the left reverend had been seriously injured, he was still alive. A half-god level expert really was terrifying. However, Ling Xiao wasn't discouraged in the slightest. In fact, his desire to do battle surged. Rumble. He leaped into the sky, and the dragon's might permeated the air around him. His blood chi spread out like a great river. With a punch of the 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique, a rainbow-colored divine dragon swept across the 9 heavens and attacked the left reverend. At the same time, Ling Xiao's King Heaven Devourer Cauldron became a vortex of devouring power that pulsed with heaven-shaking devouring power. The sea of reincarnation was being devoured by the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, transforming it into life force quintessence that flowed into Ling Xiao. To Ling Xiao, the sea of reincarnation was a boundless treasure trove. It was because of the life force quintessence that Ling Xiao dared to use the fate-reversing art. Otherwise, he would have had to pay an unimaginable price to kill the Left Reverend. Ruyuambo. Heaven and earth trembled as the seven-colored dragon swept through the air, its tail and claws slashing through the primal chaos sword light. At the same time, the King Heaven Devourer cauldron was like the mouth of a primeval beast, devouring all of the sword energy. Bam! Ling Xiao soared through the sky with the invincible fist seal in his hand. His eyes were dazzling as he sent the Left Reverend flying with a single punch. The Left Reverend was severely injured by the fate-reversing art, and his battle prowess was greatly reduced. He couldn't stand up to Ling Xiao's ferocious attack. Die! Ling Xiao said, his eyes blazing with killing intent. The power of the war god swirled around him, transforming into a judgment god fist that shot toward the Left Reverend. The Left Lord of Heaven's eyes were filled with both shock and anger. His arms shot through the air as demonic chi rose around him. He actually transformed into a black divine eagle. His silver wings were like swords as he slashed through the air towards Ling Xiao. The Left Reverend was actually a demon-ling. Silver-winged heavenly hawk? That's a legendary creature from the primeval times. It has the bloodline of the Gold Pond Rocks. Who would have thought that the Left Reverend's true form would be a silver-winged heavenly hawk? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.